Are we?
Live.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hello.
There it
Hello.
is. There it is.
Hello.
We're good to go.
Hello.
I know it's time to go live as
Don't do
soon
that.
as that six-pack is done.
That's when you do it.
We do the... What's the next... Back.
Hey.
Now we all
Where is it?
are.
Where is it? Right.
Yes. This is
There.
that one right there.
That one?
So is that going to be camera one?
Here it is.
One?
Yeah, that is camera
See?
them. So I actually have them marked backwards in case anybody tries to take my job and they'll totally just fuck with their head. It's actually backwards. That one's us. That one's
Us,
them. But I
them.
have them marked backwards. But
This is a beautiful
that
way
one's
to
the
do it.
webcam.
Webcam.
Hey!
Webcam.
Rob is inside
This one's the
He's
overhead,
inside the finger.
so I can catch you guys playing with your crotches
Oh,
or each other's
I would
crotches.
have brought other things if I had known.
What
And
are
then
the
the
things?
TV cam is black and white.
That whole condom thing you were talking about.
Yeah,
the
the
ping pong
ping-pongs.
condom. I would have brought those. I didn't know.
Shit, we
Kurt,
should.
Kurt Rogers is finna get ping-ponged after this.
Yeah, we should have went live like half an hour ago. That's
Yeah.
how good shit was.
We did
Yeah.
miss out on some good stuff.
Yep.
Some really riveting
All right.
content.
Yes. How you guys doing? Welcome.
We're doing all right.
We're-
You know, we don't live in the same town.
No, not anymore. I talk to you more than anyone else
Where,
in my friend group.
where do you guys live?
I'm in Tallahassee.
Okay, you're here in Tallahassee.
I have been in Tallahassee my whole life.
Okay,
Yeah, so I'm totally cemented here.
I see.
And then this guy,
I live
Left
somewhere
me.
else.
You live in Daytona?
No, I live in Brevard County. Daytona's really close.
You live in fucking Brevard County?
Brevard County. So
Holy fuck.
I'm close enough that if the communists sent over a bomb, I'm close enough to be vaporized rather than be dead in the fallout a week later. if they hit our
Fallout deaths.
shuttle launch center, yes. I watch the space shuttles cruise out from my backyard. It's pretty awesome.
Damn.
Nice.
So yeah, Brevard County is cool, but they don't have they have a scene, like a music scene down there, and I'm trying to get more involved in it. And I finally started talking with a promoter down there named Sarah, and they had a venue I really liked. It was called the Rubik's Cafe. And they had, like when you walk in, it's all bright colors, and they had free video games in there. Like they had like
that's
Xboxes, PlayStations.
Oh, it's
they had Lego
consoles, okay.
tables, like the tables were Lego. They had a cafe, so like it was kid friendly. They had board games on the walls, and then they had a stage and a sound system and music. And it was like, I was like, this is the coolest venue I've ever been in. Like when I first got down there, and I got the band book. You know, Fighting Giants was still playing out. Defy the Tyrant got on the bill too, but something happened. My band couldn't make it as a full band. Defy the Tyrant came down and performed, but the show kind of got jumbled up, and that venue was on its tail end, and they actually closed down.
Damn.
Like 6 months after I got there, and I was like, man, if I had been able to get there sooner, and I would have helped them. Because
Definitely.
it was so cool. It was such a unique kind of thing. My son loved it. I loved it, and now it's gone. But Sarah's down there with some other places, and they got a cool, like, the strip down there in downtown Melbourne is like a clean Bourbon Street. Like if there wasn't so much pee and old homeless people, it's kind of like what downtown Melbourne's like.
Yeah, it's probably really clean there, right?
Yeah, it's super
Where you're at?
weird clean. Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
would assume so.
like clean room clean.
Like something is wrong.
Yeah, you got to bring some infection to that town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You rock.
So how did you you say Defy the Tyrant played? How did you keep Ian off the Lego table and get him like on stage?
We lied to him and told him that the one room was the only room and there wasn't another room.
Oh,
so he
okay.
never saw it.
Makes sense.
We kept him out back with weed and cheeseburgers.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah.
And cupcakes. That's Kurt calls him cupcake.
It's because he's a sweetie.
So you guys
Hey, look,
are...
everybody. Rob's here too.
Oh.
Wrong button. Here we go.
Hi,
This one.
Rob.
Yep,
Hi.
there he is.
Yeah.
That guy.
Here he is.
Yeah.
What happened to the
Oh,
finger cam?
Oh,
Where'd
yeah.
the finger cam?
I like finger
It's
cam.
another one. Finger cams. Finger cam's my favorite.
But it covers up Rob.
Never on extend
It's very
your arm.
mysterious. It feels kind of like Skeletor to me. Right now,
Alright.
if you talk just right,
Until
you're
next
going to take me
time.
back. Yeah, Skeletor's voice was so crazy, man.
Damn, I can't do Skeletor.
I can't either, but I can't.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
see,
try.
yeah,
It's
no,
excellent.
It's
I mean,
it's a much higher registry than
Just
what
gotta
I
make
do.
it nasally and a little bit higher.
He's making
Remember,
a
kids.
oh, that's getting pretty good.
Okay,
That's getting
Skeletor's,
pretty good.
Skeletor's making a comeback these days.
apparently.
With the memes and all that. He's
Yeah,
just,
I've
yeah.
noticed.
Popsicles are just flavored spit. Thanks, I'll see me for more. Do something anyway.
Skeletor's awesome. You know, I was in looking at. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but the way that we use the font that we use for Cue the Muses, all of our stuff, we use the same font on all of it.
Absolutely.
It was the same two fonts, but the primary one, I was like looking at it when I made our little, because we have our little podcast that we started, and we have a back window to it, like our back screen. And I was like, that's kind of like Masters of the Universe. I never thought about it, but the font is very similar
I
to
know,
Masters of the Universe. And I was like,
I-
now I know why I was so attracted to that font. Because I totally grew up watching He-Man.
So which one of you is Fisto?
Obvious.
I want
It's not even in question. I remember I used to tape that shit on VHS, right? Like every Saturday morning we'd tape He-Man because I would watch it back. And I would also watch She-Ra. Okay? And I took in a VHS tape to preschool. We were able to watch He-Man on the TV for all the kids to watch.
In preschool.
And that TV, I mean that VHS tape kept recording because it also recorded the other shows I liked on Saturday morning, which was She-Ra. She-Ra came on.
Was She-Ra a
And, man,
spin-off? Was it a
every-
spin-off of He-Man? She-Ra?
It has to be. He-Man had to have been first.
I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah, because I watched the toy evolution of He-Man. You know, the cartoon was
Yeah.
made just to sell more toys.
Yeah.
So
Same
She-Ra
as
came on.
Transformers and-
She-Ra came on, and every kid went, "Oh, She-Ra!" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know what. I don't. My mom.
My sister watches this shit.
I didn't have a sister. I had to say my mom. My mom was
Just
watching
fast forward to
She-Ra.
Thundercats. Yeah. Watch me.
And here's this kid over here, and my name's Ashley, and I've got long hair, and I'm in preschool, so I already look like a
Watching
girl,
like
and I'm watching
She-Ra.
She-Ra. I
Yeah,
had
She-Ra.
every. So then when I got to middle school, yeah, I switched it to Justin, and I went by my first name for all of middle school. So people that see me from middle school don't know me as Ash. And when I got to high school, I had the courage. I was like, what the hell am I doing? Justin is such a boring name. I'm going to go with Ash. Or Ashley is my full name. But
You know,
all
I
my
was
family calls
wondering
me
if Ash was a nickname. I would not
It's
have made
Ashley.
the connection of Ashley.
Yeah,
All right.
it's Ashley. It's spelled A-S-H-L-Y.
Oh, no E.
So very masculine.
yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Absolutely.
It's a lot more masculine. The Y. No E's in the
But then I've used that my whole life, and that's what I would kind of gravitate to. But then now I have a client, and there's one of the owners of the company. Her name is Ashley, and it's spelled exactly the way mine is spelled.
Awesome.
And so I
Kill it.
can't say it's a masculine way of spelling it anymore.
Oh no!
Just get
Yeah,
crushed all over.
you
Yeah,
can
I
just
know.
just
There's
not
no way to
not
win.
in her presence.
My life sucks.
How old were you when you saw like an Evil Dead film or anything with Bruce Campbell?
That
playing
was
Ash?
definitely late middle school. No. I saw Army of Darkness in elementary school, and I didn't have any desire to see that movie because I didn't want to see any horror movies. I had no desire for
You-
horror movies as a kid.
You didn't realize it wasn't.
I went over
really
to a buddy's
horror
house. It was
movie.
his birthday, and he rented the movie because it had just come out on VHS tape.
Yes.
you know,
Uh-huh.
back
From
in the day.
Blockbuster.
Yeah, from where? Right, it might have been. I don't even know. Like,
Well,
it might have
what
been-
was the movie gallery?
There was movie gallery. There was
Yeah.
even a movie time in Tallahassee
Yes.
at one time. And man, I watched it and I was blown away how much I liked it. I was like, this isn't scary. This is just awesome. And then I returned to it as like in high school, and I was like, this is genius. I was blown away.
Yeah,
I really like that.
You
kind of
guys seen
stuff.
Army of Darkness?
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
good.
Yeah. Come on,
Yeah.
Rob.
Mostly for the
come on.
boomstick, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No of it, of course.
What Evil Dead? Have you seen Evil Dead? None of the Ash. What's his last name in the movie? He doesn't have a
Ash,
last name.
it's
His name
just
is just Ash.
Yeah,
with the
it's Ash.
chainsaw hand.
Yeah.
Because the evil gets in his hand.
That's
Yeah.
smart.
And then he has to cut
So
the hand
good.
off.
Shop smart. Shop at
That's
S-Mart.
smart.
That's right. It's great. What were we talking about before that? Oh, right. That's right. Let's get back to this. He-Man.
No, She-Ra. Come on. Yeah, I feel like a poser sometimes. I have a Thundercat sticker on the back of my car.
I loved Thundercats too.
I like the Thundercats, but I never watched it. The one that I watched, not that I didn't want to, it's just that for some reason growing up in Oregon in those cartoon days, like I kind of missed the He-Man kick. I missed the Transformers kick. That was like the first one. The one that I loved more than anyone was called. It was like a dollar store version of the two combined together. It was called Dino Riders.
Okay.
And the Dino Riders was a cartoon about these, like, it was basically G.I. Joes on dinosaurs.
Huh.
And, like, they had
Oh, I
dinosaurs
remember
had
that.
the dinosaurs all had, like, these helmets and they talked to
I
them.
forgot
and they
about
rode them
that.
like horses, but the dinosaurs had guns and shit on them.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they would fight the bad guys. I can't remember what the bad guys were. I just remember the good guys were the guys on dinosaurs. If you made that movie now, those would be the bad guys, for sure. The dinosaur guys.
I think the more we learn about each other's history and film and our liking, the more sense it makes that we made a show together. Because we like some terrible stuff, but we like good stuff too.
the Super Inframan shirt you're
Super
wearing.
Inframan. I mean, if you don't know about that, that is something.
Have you
that
ever
was a
heard
part
of
my
Super
childhood.
Inframan?
I have not.
Super Inframan.
It's,
It's a movie. Like,
Inframan. Some people
you know-
will know
you know-
Inframan.
yeah.
And if you know, you know.
Yeah, you know. you know.
I am
you know.
not in the know on that one. That was
You know
beyond
what
me.
the Power Rangers are, right?
Yes.
Okay, they're based on the Super Inframan.
This is the original.
That's the
Oh, no
OG.
shit.
He
yeah,
is
and the
OG.
Power Rangers is a pitiful attempt at what this harnessed. I mean, you gotta.
I just can't stand that one broad's voice. I mean, the karate moves are great.
The bad
I've
guy.
been
You
used
got
those in
that.
several
Situations.
several schoolyard fights.
Okay.
But the
Yeah.
the bad chick's voice, whatever her name was.
Rita?
Yeah.
Rita
She had
Repulse.
the horn thing coming out sideways from her head.
That
Big
show
gray
pissed me
goodness.
off because it was such a ripoff of this, and I had such a I literally watched this movie like 100 times growing up. I mean, it was just one of the when you're a kid, you put a movie on and it's just looping on the TV the whole day.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that's still the case with the internet. I don't know if that's
Well,
still the
it
case.
is in the sense that we're able to watch on demand whatever the fuck we want to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
in a sense, yeah, that shit is still.
You loop it because I have a 16-year-old, but the internet wasn't as big then, so it's a totally different scenario. He would put on. We were still on DVDs, spin Bob the Builder all day long,
Absolutely.
or Thomas the Train, etc. But now I've got a 1.5-year-old, and we've still kept him away from screens because we're making an effort for that. I mean, he sees a TV, but we haven't put on stuff for him yet. But when that time comes, I don't know if he's going to just be ping-ponging from thing to thing, or if he's going to want to repeat the same episode over and over. I mean, when you got a full season of something or 3 seasons of something, and that now we can bring it back to music, gentlemen, because you don't sit with music for as much time as we used to when we were.
What I'm about to say, I think, is also true to music and, I guess, the media that you take in. We all go through phases, and I think that applies to little children as well, in the sense that there's one fucking thing, and that's all they want to watch. Whether it's Bob the Builder, or Ninja Turtles, or whatever the case is, or you just want to listen to nothing but Ginger for a fucking month. It's like, well, I'm tired of listening to that. I want to move over to Lamb of God or whatever it is. I think we all go through phases like that.
Yeah, but I feel like when I was stuck with having purchased an album that sucked, and then I listened to it again, I was like, well, it's not so bad. And then I listened to it again, because I paid for this thing.
Yeah,
right? That was all my money for the week, or
Right.
2 weeks. And then I listened to it again. I was like, I mean, that song is pretty good. That I like the single, that's why I got it. But this other song's pretty good. 4 or 5 rounds in, I'm like, this is genius.
Yep.
I mean, some of
Isn't
my
that weird?
favorite albums I did not like the first time I listened to them, but on the 3rd, 4th, 5th time they become like, this is genius. I want to learn how to play music because of this. It was like, so there was too much, it wasn't easy to get. but that's kind of what I like. I like it to be interesting, and for the songs
But the more
to be
you listen
involved.
to it, the more you understand it, and you're picking up the little nuances.
Definitely.
That is true to me for the most recent Metallica album. The first time I heard it, I was like, eh. Heard the singles, and I was like, eh.
What's it called?
72 Seasons.
Yeah.
And the more I listen to it, it's like, you know what, this is fucking great.
Okay,
That
all right,
what
see.
you said really resonates with me
Yes.
in that sense.
That's a perfect example because I'm not keen on that album right now, and because I have the internet. And
In
there's
a
three
way,
other
I want
bands.
to tell you that you're not missing anything.
Uh-huh.
You may not enjoy it because most people don't. I didn't the first couple rounds, and then after listening to it, it's like, yeah, you know what, this is pretty good actually.
I mean, I definitely thought in the first listen. So I'm the first listen person.
Sure.
Good. It's good. It's solid. But I mean, they've done so much better. That's the way, you know. it's like-
Absolutely, they've done so much better.
But I don't know if that would change if I listen to it more. What do you think? Do you think does it feel rehashed, or are they just kind of using the stock pool of what they've got, or is it?
I might be the wrong person to answer that question because, as we have discussed multiple times on the show, I am a huge Metallica fan, and so perhaps I'm biased.
Yes.
He does have a James Hetfield tattoo.
It's not.
What? That's cool.
No,
His face?
It's not a James Hetfield tattoo. It is a Metallica lyric, but it's not a.
Oh, it's a lyric.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he wrote the
Very
lyrics.
tasteful.
Yeah.
It's a James Hetfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in his handwriting and everything.
I sympathize with you. When that new album came out, Timbo called me. He was like, "Hey, Timbo, the drummer for Cue The Muses, is like, hey, you hear the new Metallica song, man?" And I was like, "I think so. Yeah, they came out. It's like it's got a weird name. The first one, the first song." And his word to me was, "He's playing the Justice for All kit. He's playing the White Pearl kit." And like as a drummer, he was totally pumped and like a little kid excited.
I can
In
kinda
the
see
video,
that.
Lars was playing the white kit, and he said same kit, same sound. He's like same sound. It's the Justice kit. I was like, what? And I listened. I was like, oh wow, yeah. And I was like, I love Metallica too. Metallica was one of the longest lasting band that was in my phase where I wouldn't fucking listen to anything else. I had all the tapes, the cassette tapes, and then a big tape thing in a Marlboro bag my mom gave me for smoking enough cigarettes in the tape case, and I would just go back to back to back. And I'm one of the guys that me and Ashley have had this conversation too. I fucking love Load and Reload.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
fucking love
Can I
it.
fucking kiss you?
Yeah.
They were really good, man. I listened to those a ton, and you know, Metallica is a huge
That was a
staple.
joke, by the way.
I don't think that was a joke. I think we could all make out right now with these two albums.
Got a box of ping pong balls.
and like Load and Reload came out like back to back, like 96 or 96 and 97
Yeah.
or
Something like that.
And I remember it was when I was 13 and 14 years old. And
That's the age, man.
That's when I was learning to play guitar, and what happened was I had learned of Metallica from a friend of mine who liked Metallica. Like I was in like Guns N' Roses when I first started listening to rock music, and then my buddy in the neighborhood here in Florida was like, "Metallica, you gotta listen to Metallica," and it was like all of the main ones, like One, Sanitarium,
Absolutely.
you know, the main songs.
Yep.
Never really liked the Black Album stuff. Like the Inner Sandman song was cool, but it didn't have the long intro.
Yeah.
I was like, this is weird. This is really cool. And like I started listening to it, and then I went in and didn't know anything about the band. I'm a kid, so I'm learning about this band that I really like, and I'm falling in love with this shit that's already 15 years old.
Yep.
You know, and it was like realized that wait a minute. This the bass player, and as I learned that Cliff was the original bassist, and then Cliff died, and I was heartbroken about this dude that died 10 years ago, 15 years prior to me finding out. I went through the phase because I wanted to be a bassist when I was young. That bass was what I wanted to play. So when I started learning to play an instrument, what I would do is I had this big television it was like the big TV stereo combo, the giant thing that sits on the floor.
Yes.
The big wooden thing had speakers in it, and it had an 8-track player on top, and I had an 8-track player disc thing that had a cassette tape adapter. You could put the cassette tape in the 8-track, and I would put that Metallica shit on and put it in there, and I'd get my dad's like piece of shit, the one that's hanging on the wall at your studio in there, the black
Part of
one.
the Cue The Muses set.
It's in the set. It's an Easter egg. It's a black, like, short neck scale 4-string bass made by some off-brand Chinese nothing. But I would just crank it and just pretend pretend I was playing. Didn't know what the fuck any of this meant, but I knew that if I could make my fingers go as fast as they were doing on the album, if I could do that, that was something. You know, like that was the
Absolutely.
thing. And I was
Nice.
just like 14 years old, just fucking cranking hair in the living room and stuff.
That's funny, man. I didn't realize Metallica was such an instigator for you musically.
100%.
Metallica is the reason I officially learned to play guitar. I came back. I was 16. Went to a concert in St. Petersburg, and Metallica was playing. And on the bill was Seven Dust. I had never heard of this.
Holy
band.
shit!
Yeah, a little
Seven
band
Dust
from
was the
Atlanta.
opening band,
Right.
and then it went to Kid Rock, who I had no personal desire to see.
I bet he was fucking awesome.
But he blew me away. Live, I
Yeah.
was like, holy shit. This guy hopped on every instrument, including the turntables.
Yep.
And I was like, this guy is so talented. And it was just amazing. And I'm 16, and we drove to St. Peter's with my buddy. You know, like,
Was it Janice Landing? Probably.
it might have been.
Yeah.
It might have
Was
been.
it outside?
No, it wasn't.
No?
Thank you
Janice
for helping
Landing's
remind. No,
outside.
it was an enclosed. Here, I can't remember what it was. But
Anyways.
it was fantastic,
Yeah.
right? So then the last band to open up right before Metallica was Creed,
Oh.
and I had seen Creed like in Tallahassee multiple
Right.
times. I watched this band
Huge.
become the biggest band, one of the biggest bands in the world. And
For a
and
minute,
then
they were the
Metallica
biggest
for a
band.
bit,
Yes.
For a minute,
they were
the
almost
biggest
there at
fucking
this
thing on the
point,
planet.
right?
Yeah.
And
For
they
about this long.
yeah.
for about that long. That's right. That's right.
That long right there.
And dude, they played, and then Metallica played, and then I'm
Wait.
like,
Seven Dust,
yes,
Kid Rock,
yeah.
Creed.
Then Creed.
Yeah, okay.
Creed is the last thing to play on
Okay.
that bill before Metallica.
God damn.
And I thought, and I hadn't learned how to
And
play
this is
guitar
one of your
yet.
first shows.
I had only been to Stone Temple Pilots in Tallahassee, Florida, at the Civic Center before that with my mom
That
when I was
was
in
it.
middle school. That was it.
Wow.
Then I was 16, and then me and my buddy just literally drove by ourselves. I mean, 16 years old to go do that independently out of town.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. So anyway, I'm watching the show. Then Metallica comes on, and we had made our way maybe 15 feet away from the stage. I turn around, I see I don't know, at least 12, 13,000 people back there, and I turn back around and I'm looking, and there's this, they had the center lead out stage.
Yes.
So- and they were in the acoustic section.
the ego.
Well, it was perfect because he came out and they put two stools out there, and Hatfield and Hammett just sit down at that acoustic on two stools, acoustic, on 15 feet away, spotlight on it. And I turn around, face to that crowd. I turn around and I'm like, I want to help make this experience happen for people.
Yes.
And then I came back and I bought an acoustic guitar. I didn't
Absolutely.
even think. That was what I could afford. That's what I was like. I could practice this anywhere. Went and did it, and the rest is history. So at 16, that's when I really started learning how to play guitar.
Hey, say something. Say hey to Ash.
What's up, Ash?
What's up, man?
Jason Cup
How you doing, dude?
wouldn't call me on the podcast.
He's been here before. He knows what it's about.
Worm tried to call me too. I know you guys want to talk to me. We're gonna get through with this thing, and I'll call you back.
Yeah, call me back.
Bye.
You know what I just remembered?
Whatever.
You guys sent me. Hey, how you doing? You guys sent me a rider that wasn't even fulfilled. I forgot all about that shit.
A what?
A rider. You wanted
Oh.
burritos.
Burritos.
Wait, you guys had a rider? What?
We had a rider.
What kind of shit is this?
Green M&Ms.
No shit. Green M&Ms, baby. Holy
Burritos,
shit.
Fritos.
coffee.
Oh my God. Well,
Fuck.
Wow. Damn. You got another
I
coffee?
didn't know you were going to fulfill all this. I was.
Oh wow.
Holy shit.
Look, see,
burrito.
off,
I'll leave
off
this
the record,
stuff to
guys.
him, but I'm going to eat these green M&Ms.
I am gonna. I'm trying to eat one of these half-frozen burritos. Let's see if we can sit long enough, and this room's gonna get warm. They'll heat up in there.
See, we come through.
Hell yeah!
Thank you very much, man.
You're
I really. I mean, I have never, on my entire rock career,
Green M&Ms.
experienced somebody actually
Look at
delivering
that.
a green M&M.
Let me try one. Let me see if they're real.
Yeah,
Let me see
they're
if
real, all
I,
right?
I think the closest thing to
It took me
a
all day to make. By the way.
I think
Five bags.
the closest thing we've ever done to what you would call a rider prior to
Yeah.
you guys would have been the big fucking thing of cheese poofs for Fire the Snake.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
They brought those though.
Oh, they brought
Oh, they brought their own rider. That's the story of my rock.
Hey
over there.
guys,
Yeah,
we
they
brought
wanted-
our own
They
rider.
wanted to do cheesy proof reviews.
Anybody watching this, I'm just here to tell you, don't get any fucking ideas.
Yeah, it's not a normal thing. I've known these guys for like 200 years.
That's
so.
right. We have known each other quite a while.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been-
back at a dent in the attic.
I know, right?
Right?
Yes.
Back when shit was wild and
attic.
That's
I don't
where
know
we used
the
to practice.
I
The five
practiced
to
there
five
as
was,
well.
Like, you practiced there as well?
Yes, I did.
Wait a second. Were you on?
Well, this was before anybody else got in there, though.
Is that the
No
climate
way.
Yep.
control place?
Oh yeah, we were bougie as fuck,
what,
dude.
was it? Were you on the bottom?
I know that place.
We were in the main building.
Oh.
I want to say on the second floor,
Okay.
if memory serves.
That's where we
Yeah.
were. Yeah, you popped up and you went right out, and we had 2 units right there next to
Yeah.
the elevator.
Did you guys ever
You
take
guys
the little the back entrance to go smoke and shit?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was Kill Clouseau, Death Defy. Chuck Norris was downstairs.
Chuck Norris. That
Yeah.
was Toad's band. I almost called him Frog. Toad was the drummer for that band.
right.
Love that band.
Yeah.
They went through a couple singers, I remember, and Russ's old band used to play there. I think
Did they?
it was it Sinister Nasty or was it another band?
That would have been that era, but
It was-
I don't know that they were there. If they were,
No, I know. 'Cause I couldn't afford that one. That was the climate control. I was always in either a storage zone or we were in Century, the shithole Century down on Tharp Street down there. But
Yeah, I came from Storage Zone over, and I'm never going back.
yeah.
It was hilarious. I was my band was first practicing in the other building that's actually on Monroe, right?
Yeah.
And we've been practicing there for several months, and some fucking computer repair shop guy moved in, and we're like, I don't fucking care. We were here first. We're having band practice, and like it if you like it, and if you don't, well.
he didn't like the noise. The repair
and
guy.
he didn't fucking like the noise. It was interfering with his business. So he fucking complained to the owners, and the owner was like, "Well, he pays more rent, so
Like them assholes in movies.
the guy, the
Extra.
computer guy, paid more rent than
yeah,
you.
yeah." He paid more rent than we did, so he got the. So we ended up moving to the main building, and after that, we were good.
Nice. So what was back in the day? What did they charge at the climate control place?
I don't remember.
I remember like we were like
I feel like it was $200 a month. Or
Yeah,
something.
well,
I think it was like
that
50
sounds
bucks
about
each.
right. Yeah.
that's not bad.
It really wasn't. It was very
But
affordable.
Back when we don't have any money, I remember
Yeah.
we would regularly when I was in Falling at Will. When I was like we were the loser band of Tallahassee.
Do you know-
regularly get locks put on our shit? But we were all
Oh, no
construction
way.
guys, so we all had grinders in the car. I just
Oh, wow.
that fucking lock off and get it out of there. But
Do you know that was? We've never talked about this, but Cody brought this up. He said, "Did you know that Falling at Will? Have you thought about it? The Great Southern Music Hall, Falling at Will, Kill Clouseau. That was our first show ever,
yeah,
and you guys were on that bill.
that was before I joined. Do you know who was in?
That's
Falling-
why I didn't
you know-
remember you there.
know who was in Falling- so the-
thought my memory just
It's a running trend with David and I in bands. Like,
Okay.
usually it starts, there's
I feel
someone
better.
else there, and then later I get a call, hey man, if I kick out the guitar player, will you come play? It's and back in the day, I used to do it. But anyway, the original guy is a friend of mine, great dude, and this is a funny story. The original guitar player for Falling at Lil
Yeah.
was Blake from Despite the Irony, the vocalist. Back in the day, Blake used to look a lot. We used to look the same. I had long hair. He had long hair. I used to call him my stunt double. And for whatever reason, this is way back in the day. Blake was in the band with Falling at Will, and Dave, and then parted ways with Blake, and they got me. And they had been together already for almost a year. And then I joined Falling at Will. But to come back to the storage prices in rehearsal spaces. So I just got back from Texas last Friday. I was in Texas. David lives in Texas. David joined a band out there in Texas. He lives in Dallas. And so he went through this, it's like Tinder for bands. And the way he had described it to me, he sent me a message. He's like, hey, I'm going to meet this band tonight at Hooters. I was like, you're going to try out for the band at Hooters? He was like, oh, we're going to meet up with the band. I was like, well, if you like the guys at Hooters, make sure you wait until you go to rehearsal before you commit. Is I know Dave, he's gonna make friends, and then I was like, make sure you don't like make friends at Hooters and then go to the band and then it sucks or something,
Right.
But that wasn't the case. So he went and met these two dudes at Hooters, and then he went to their jam space later, and like he sent me a video.
Same night.
He sent me a clip of their song, and the name of their group I don't get, but it's a thing. It's called Birds Aren't Real. And it was like, what?
It's like the flat Earth thing,
Yeah,
isn't it?
there's
a movement
there's
about
there's
this,
a
right?
thing. Yeah, and I had to research. It's a colors guy. It's a big joke making fun of the government things. But anyways, I was out there and I didn't meet his whole band, but I met his drummer. And his drummer's name's Javon, and he's fucking amazing. Like being from Tallahassee, I felt like I was hanging out with Eddie Maldonado. If you remember Eddie Maldonado, like I felt like if Eddie Maldonado was a drummer and he was a little more high strung, this is Dave's drummer. But more importantly, we start talking and sharing music, and he's got these recordings of this other band he was in, all that, and the dude is like phenomenal. Not only is he incredibly nice, but he's an incredibly phenomenal drummer. I was like, okay. And I was glad because Dave's, my best friend. He's out there living by himself in Texas, and he's like doesn't have any friends, and he's like falling in with really good people and a good band.
Good.
But what I'm getting to with the rehearsal space is they practice in a building that is like an office building that's been renovated to band rehearsal space. So like an office building, storefront. As I'm looking at their video, it's like they have a GoPro in the corner. It's a room about this big, maybe twice as long. And I'm looking at the windows with the drapes, and I'm like, those are storefront. I'm a construction guy. I'm like, those are fucking storefront windows. Where the fuck are y'all rehearsing at? And they're like, oh yeah, it's this old office building. I was like, what do they charge? And they were like, yeah, it's $700 a month. I'm like, what? No way. I was like, you say how many bands? Like, dude, the place is sold out. There's a waiting list to get in there to this place. I was like, first at $700 a month?
Welcome to Texas. Everything's bigger.
Yeah, that's the payment including. But but what that also tells me is that the bands that are there, they're not playing around. Yeah. If you're in a band and you're paying $700 a month, splitting it 5 ways at $150 or whatever, right. You're doing it. You're not wasting time. You're not skipping practices either. You're not doing it in anybody's garage.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like they're just going to Hooters.
I think they're just spending all their time in Hooters.
How serious are they? No, that's cool, man. That's awesome. That $700 sounds kind of crazy. But is everything more expensive where he's at? What city?
He's in Dallas.
That sounds
Which is
pricey. It's definitely pricier than Tallahassee.
Yeah, it's big city living.
Yeah.
It's a big area. I saw it from the airplane. We went to the venue and saw the place was called I think the Factory or something, and it was Asking Alexandria, the Who, the HU, the Mongolian throat metal band. They were my absolute favorite. David hated them, and his drummer Javon hated them because all the songs was like. I was like, are you kidding me? This is like if Shang Tsung had a metal band. This is what it would sound like. It's fucking amazing. I was like, and they're like, your soul is mine. But it was like, and then when Asking Alexandria came on, it was more like an upbeat. They're like a really modern rock sounding band. And the drums, like, I just got done seeing 2 shows back to back at Club LA, with Ed and Brad and John and them guys, and they have them beat. Like, this place was massive. It was a football field of a room, and it had a upper balcony, all 3 sides, full VIP upper deck, massive room. It was about 50 or 60% capacity. Like, the crowd was stacked out about halfway. Then you had a big empty concrete floor, but like the drums were so thin, like I could still hear the echo bouncing off the back wall, and like it didn't feel good. Like when you go to Club LA in Destin, you go to a show out there, it feels full and punchy, and like the sound's so big and ambient, you feel it. You feel the pressure in your ears from like the experience of it. And this place just didn't have it. And I was like, well, they don't do everything bigger in Texas,
Well, and also the amount of people in a venue changes the shape of the sound
I figure that'd be
tremendously.
the hard part as a sound guy is trying to figure out, be like, all right, we're thinking this thing's going to be about 75, so let's set up for, 75%, and then 25% show up, and you're like, fuck, now you got to try
That's
to change
right.
everything on the fly.
Yeah, yeah.
And you screw it up, and then all of a sudden there's no bass at all. And
I was just
shit
listening
could go sideways quick.
That's right. And I was listening to Kurt Hammett talk about some backstories on that, just because they're always tone chasing, right? And then they'll do a sound check, and it's like it's all dialed in, and it's amazing and perfect.
To an empty house.
That's right. And then, like,
completely
it's
empty house.
full, because it's sold out, and then it just sounds like mud. I mean, they're like, oh, shit, I can't hear anything. And just how many times that happens, how hard that is. Plus, dealing with tube amps just in general and those different heat changes, and they're doing amp combinations, right? Like, they're trying to get these tones that happen on their recordings, which is like a nightmare to try and attempt to do live, but they're attempting it. Well, they were until they switched over to Axe Effects.
Have you ever seen the? There's a YouTube video that talks about what they did to get the tone for the Injustice for All album.
Mick.
And it's
No,
like,
but,
I always thought it was
talking
something.
about it.
I always
Yeah.
thought it was something like extremely simple. I thought it was just like back then. I figured it was Marshall. Just
But it
straight
was
Marshall.
like a few
They
amps,
they
right?
combined multiple heads,
Two heads.
and
Yeah.
chains.
Diesel, if I remember.
They used Mesas, Marshalls, Diesels, and like
Yeah.
different albums. They
Yes.
had different combinations.
And then
of
for
things.
live, they tried to consolidate to a combination of two. But even that was like a nightmare because of temperature changes, different amounts of people.
Yeah.
Like everything changes the scope of that. But
But when you've got guys like Mick Thompson running the sound,
yeah,
you got no problems.
it's true.
That's the name of Slipknot's guitar player, Mick Thompson.
Yeah, it is.
And he just switched to my brand.
Wait a minute. Is
ESP.
Mick's last name Thompson? Their sound guy.
Slipknot's
Is it the
guitar
same?
player. I think his name is Mick Thompson.
Is that the same guy?
Yeah,
Also Brand
it's not.
Could
It's not,
totally be.
it's not the same guy, but I
Oh.
mean, their
Guitar
sound
actor.
engineer that they use for
Matrix is
his
like-
name is definitely Mick.
Uh-huh.
It may not be Thompson. Anyways.
We never got to any chats.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck.
0%.
Oh
I
shit.
saw Buck's up there. Hey,
Let's see
Buck.
what's going on. Tammy says, welcome, boys.
Hey guys.
Hey,
Don
Tam.
says, what's up, Upperfire crew?
What up, Don?
Buck, where's Buck's laser at?
Pew pew. Oh, wrong one.
Cue The
Yeah.
Muses is so fucking dope. I love that shit. What's up, fam?
What up,
Pew,
dog?
pew.
Pew, pew, pew.
So
Where the Star
thanks.
Wars nerds
Thank you
at?
very
I-
much.
I do want to talk about you guys at least a little bit before we all get up on our tangents.
Can I get through the comments
Oh,
before you get off on your tangent?
I'm gonna shut up now.
All right.
I'll be happy
Don
to talk
says,
about
what up, Rob?
Oh, Don, hi.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
that's my homie.
He-Man,
right.
September 1983. She-Ra, March 1985. See, He-Man's first.
Yeah.
I knew it. I mean, that's where the toys started. I mean, it's not. It's just
Samantha says,
history.
What's up? She says, listen to these fucking nerds. Keep it up, guys.
Fuck yes.
Nothing nerdy has been spoken on this.
I'll take that.
Inframan, 1975.
That's right.
And then she says, Chinese Superman.
That's
Might as
pretty
well
much
be.
exactly what it
Yeah.
translates to.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way, but that makes sense.
Rob, you have the floor.
Cue the music.
Ready to go.
Cue the Rob.
Dick, whenever you reached out to me, I was a little surprised. To be honest with you,
Surprised?
Yeah, I was a little surprised. You guys are some busy motherfuckers.
We are.
And I know you've got a few projects, and you've got a few projects. You guys care to go into, what you have your hands in?
You go.
I have my hands in dick. No,
My-
I mean
my
that's
hands are
only
holding
part of
his
the
hands.
schedule. Well, for me, I have a video production company called Rough Cut Productions, and it's a one man band, but it's busy all the time. I work 7 days a week, most of the time, and that's really what enabled us to make the Cue The Muses stuff, and met through making music videos for bands. Even though predominantly I'm making branding videos for companies, I'm also trying to do music videos where I can afford to, because it's Unfortunately, it doesn't quite pay as much as the companies.
Yeah.
You don't
But
say.
it doesn't quite. Yeah, bands don't
Weird.
quite have that kind of income. But I like doing it because music's where I started, and video work was like the sideline to pay for the dream of music. And then video just started. I started falling in love with video, and then it became as important to me as the music, which was crazy. I really didn't think that was the case. I always liked movies, but what you can get access to now, like from a spec standpoint, the cameras available for the price points and this and that. Never thought you'd even be able to touch the realm of anything that would look the way that you can get now for, I mean, you'd think it'd be at least $1 million, right, to get in that territory. And so as all the technology increased, I fell in love with it more. I felt more empowered. And then finally, after years of building up Rough Cut Productions, returned to making some music again, via Dick. And then we just started collaborating on a song, and then I was we had already done a visual EP for the Fighting Giants, and I was like, that's the idea, but that's like the baby idea. I wanted to, my dream would be to make an album that's like that expanded, and he was on board. And the thing about Dick that I want to point out before we get off of it,
Zing.
oh man, I did not mean. I heard it as I was saying it, which is why I smiled. But I swear it wasn't preconceived.
Get off
Is
of
that when he helped for free on the Defy the Tyrant music video, which I'm real happy with how that came out and all the guys were, but just in working with him on that, and then the experience working with him on the Fighting Giants visual EP, it's not easy going out and busting your ass to make these kinds of videos. It's not. It's a lot of work. I mean, people are tired on a 16-hour day. We're hurting, And his energy level is like, this is an A-type personality. These are hard to find, especially in music. I won't say anything. It's hard to find that with bands where you have somebody that's so driven, and I'm like, if we teamed up, this is in the back of my head, like we could actually do it. Like to do something on this grand of a scale, I would need help. I do so much by myself on the video production stuff, but I really, like this is like another level with the whole recording and acting in it and all that kind of stuff. And then just actually organizing all the troops. And so I felt like he was an opportunity to do that just from an energy standpoint. Then there was obviously the artistic chemistry that felt like was really, really cool.
Yeah, it was sort of a happenstance thing, because we knew that you had done music videos. And actually, it went all the way back to Kurt and I when we were in the same band together, talking about doing a video with you one day. Like, man, wouldn't it be awesome to do a music video? Ash makes music videos. And and then years went by, and
Right.
and bands came and went. And then when the call came from Kurt, it was hey, we're Defy the Tyrants doing a music video with Ash. And he actually approached Amber and I because they wanted to ask Amber to be the actress, the actor.
Yeah,
she's
she's
in
the
music
actress
video.
in that, yeah.
And Kurt
We
said,
did have another person.
Yeah, there was another person.
Yes,
but he told me, Amber was all about it. But then Kurt told me that there was going to be a scene with a gun. There was a gun in the video, and it's like
We didn't know each other well at all.
I didn't know Ash. I knew Ash like he was another guy in a band from Tallahassee, and I was like, okay, so you want my girlfriend to come over and you're going to shoot her. You're going to film a gun, and so like I have guns, and they had a gun, and it was like I contacted Ash. I was like, hey, I want to do this. I want to help. I want to come help. I was like, the main thing was, there's going to be a scene where there's a gun pointed at Amber, and there's going to be a scene where there's a gun firing. And I was like, now, I'm not going to be any type of way, but I have to be in control of that situation. I want to come. Let me come. And Ash was like, absolutely. You were like, please, yeah, come do it. So, okay, so it was my father's 357 that he made at the Smith & Wesson plant. Damn. It's in the video. It's a silver revolver. And, we made sure there was a scene where there's another actress that points it at Amber in there, and there's no bullets in it. And then there's another scene of the gun where we fired it into the pond on Ash's property. And that was just like the whole experience of it, the gun aside and all that, just the whole experience of getting to be there with the lighting, setup, the band filming, the cameras. I was just like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. I mean, I helped all night. I was like,
Yeah.
it was so cool. And we set up shots inside, the acting scenes in it. And then when it came to, because at the same time I was putting together Fighting Giants with David and the other guys, that came from another band. It was Breaking the Machine, was a band in Tallahassee. And again, Richie Nix decided he was leaving the band, and what happened? I got a call from David. Hey, my guitar player's leaving. You want to come play guitar? This has happened time and time again throughout my time with David. And I was like, he's quitting. Don't fire somebody. And he was like, no, Richie's quitting the band, and we need somebody. And I was like, okay. And I had already agreed to play bass. I was actually the bassist for them. And then so we started. Richie left. I started playing guitar. And Josh, that one guy, Josh Ivester, you know Josh Ivester?
Yeah.
He was in the band. He was the other.
Aware of this
he was the
gentleman?
other guitar player. And for whatever reason, Josh was just like, the Breaking the Machine's not that. We're starting something new, and he stepped away. And I know why he stepped away. It was kind of abruptly. But it wasn't a rude thing. It wasn't an ugly thing. It was just he was just like, you guys do your thing. And he was like, I need to do my thing, and that became tragic.
Yes.
And it was like when he started coming out with tragic, I was like, I see where you're going. I see what you're doing. I was like,
Yep.
oh, it's fucking awesome. I was like, dude, they're killing it, crushing it.
Yes.
And when the Giants came together, I had asked Jeff. I was like, okay, I want to do a one guitar player band. So Jeff was the guitar player for 86 The Earth with me, and he was in Ruleless, and he was the bass player for Inside the Nine. We've been in multiple bands together. And I called him. I was like, hey, man, Josh just left the band. It's me and Dave and John Hoganson. Probably going to call Bofa to play bass. You want to come play guitar? He said, fuck no. He's like,
Wow.
no. He said no. And I was like, okay. Like, all right. So I start reaching out, like, Michael Nix, what are you doing, man? And he's like, I got my fucking doing this dying breed, and I don't want to play with y'all. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, yeah. And then one night, Jeff sent me a message and was like, offer me the job again.
Were those his words?
Yeah, that was his words. Yeah, he's like, text me. He's like, hey, man. I was like, what's up? He said, offer me the job again. And I was like, you want to come play guitar? He was like, yeah. I was like, well, fuck yeah, we got a party, man. I was like, come over. We started writing music, and it was one of the first things. That's why, because it was that core group, it was John, David, me, and Jeff. Bofa came in, but John, me, David, Jeff, we were all Inside the Nine. And the Inside the Nine, again, that was a band. The original guitar players was Brian and Josh. And what happened back in the day, David and Josh got in a fit. They kicked Josh out. Hey, Richard, you want to come be in the band? Okay. Sure, that's how I joined Inside the Nine. But the first song that we did with the Giants, one of them was Unravel, Tape 9, which was the Inside the Nine song that I wrote when I joined Inside the Nine. That was the first one that I wrote. And we rehashed Unravel, and we called Kurt. He's like, Kurt, you gonna come do Unravel? He's like, yeah, hell yeah. I was like, cool, let's do a music video. I was like, I'm gonna pay. I already talked to Ash. I was like, I'm putting a group together. We're almost ready. We were going to record same place Kurt went and recorded this guy Brett up in Tennessee.
Wait, I'm sorry, I need to interrupt you for a second. So Unraveled was originally a Fighting the Giant song?
Unravel was an Inside the Nine song originally.
Oh, Inside the Nine.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was an Inside the Nine song,
Okay.
which Inside the Nine was the same core group as Fighting Giants. John on the drums, David on vocals, Curtis on vocals together.
Yeah.
Jeff Withers on bass guitar, and then the original two guitar players was Brian and Josh, and then it was Brian and me. And then Inside the Nine lasted for like 2 years, and then I remember something happened, and Kurt just got, if I remember right, Kurt just got really pissed and just left and said, "I'm separating myself from you, dumb fucks." Wow. I don't.
About time.
I think that's been so long ago. I'm not sure exactly what it was. I think I remember Kurt kind of being the catalyst, but I might be wrong. And Kurt, I'm sorry if you weren't.
Anything to do with ping pong balls?
Totally thinking the same thing.
Kurt decided he was just gonna ping pong his way right the fuck on out of there. But back to the video with the Giants, when we were thinking, me and the guys were thinking, and at the time I was doing like punch work at my job, and a lot of punch work is just walking through apartment buildings that are under construction and making a punch list of the same fucking room, the same fucking thing, and every fucking 300 times over again. And I got my headphones and I'm listening to our brand new recorded song. And while I'm doing that, like, that's like, close your eyes and see what's happening in a music video. That's like a dream come true for me to like try, okay, what is the music video going to be? And of course, what did I land on? Time traveling dumbasses trying to save their buddy who got killed by this other guy who isn't really a bad guy. And then everybody saves the day when a bunch of little fucking kung fu kids come in and save them from getting their asses kicked. And it was doing that video. From sun up to sundown, we decided to do a kung fu video.
But I mean, he had this idea, and he sent it to me. We're just getting started. He put down his deposit to make a music video. All right. I get this idea. I'm like, I love this idea. This sounds so fun. This is exactly the kind of thing I want to be able to make videos of. Your song is 3.5 minutes. Where do you guys play in this? Because I mean, there's this crazy long, intricate story, and I'm like, look, I've had this idea. I've done one of these, where it's like a visual EP, where it's actually 2 songs, and we stitch it together with a little story piece. We have an intro, so it's almost like a little short film. This is the direction that I'm curious to go in. I'd done one for the Georgia Honeys, which is. Kelly and Linda Love, and Kelly Love's from Eli, they had done one, and I love how that came out. But, I mean, this was this outlandish idea. I thought it was another opportunity. And that's when I power pitched Dick to up the budget, make it a double video. Let's make this, I'll help you do this whole story. Still grossly undercharged for what it ended up. And then I ended up turning it into literally, that's a 20-minute thing.
I remember getting the call because we had done 3 songs with Brett, and the first 2 singles are of those 3 songs, and then we had done another 3 songs. We had just, by the time the video was done being filmed, we had gone back and recorded the second half of the album, and the other 3 songs were done. Plus, there were 2 songs we recorded acoustically at my studio here in Wakulla, and I brought the session to Brett, and then we used the guitar parts from there, and then we tracked new vocals at his place. And Ash called me, and you said, do you have any more songs, do you have any more material, new
While
material?
I was editing it, I realized there was these dry gaps. The music videos obviously stood for themselves, but on the story points, I always put in some kind of backing track to just kind of flesh it out more. You build room tone, you're building Foley sound, and it was sounding really dead. Yeah. And so I was curious, maybe I should use more of the album.
I wasn't sure what you were going to do with them, and I was like, we just got done with these other 3 songs, so I sent you. I think I just sent you like here's some cool ones, here they are. I don't remember.
I think you did. I think you just gave me what you had, and then I ended up using parts of 4 of your songs rather than even 2. So this is what is a problem with me, because I get it totally addicted, and this is why I know I'm always going to work past the budget I have. So I have to get the budget to some amount, so at least I'm not. So I have my home.
Right.
I'm covering the food bill, because if the more fun the project is, the further I'm going to work past what I was paid for it, and so anyway, I knew that ended up happening in a major way on that, because it was still 14 minutes was the goal, and it ended up being 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 1938 or something online.
We'll say 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and we had so much help. It's so much help went into that. Jay Daniel helped tremendously with the comic books. I priced out because I was originally thinking about doing a comic book series for Fighting Giants. That was kind of like the entire premise, because at the time comics are the biggest thing in the world now, Marvel movies and all that. That was kind of where we were at. It was how much would it cost to do a comic book? And I started talking to artists, what do you charge for comic books? And it's usually between $100 and $500 a page. I started getting real prices for comics, for illustrated comics, and I was like, yeah, that's not in the budget.
But that makes sense, though, doesn't it?
$40.
Yeah. So, enter Jay Daniel, who had just started getting it. He's my tattoo artist,
Yep.
and he's also a fucking amazing musician here in Tallahassee.
Yes, he is.
And I've been in bands with him. It was like, so Jay was like, man, I don't have any budget, but I got a little bit of money, and then what we ended up on was this, he had the idea. He was like, dude, send me stupid photos. He said, just send me a bunch of stupid photos of you guys doing dumb shit. And I did, and then he took the photos and then he rendered them as illustrations and then created the layout, page layout. So we actually printed up comics, and like I still have a couple of them, like the Fighting Giant comics. It's episode 35 and 36 is like it's supposed to have already been established, and the episodes, like, that's the premise, like beginning, it's my son in the beginning of the
He's
video
reading one of those
reading the
physically
comic,
printed comic
and then
books.
like it goes in his head, and then what's happening in the video, that's like him reading the comic, kind of like the Never Ending Story type of situation. And it was like,
But better.
yeah, but way better, way less killing of horses.
It's a lot more musical.
Yeah, a lot more songs and stuff.
Yeah.
A little shorter.
But doing that never hurt so bad in my life. At the end of the day, I
The
remember-
filming experience,
Yeah.
and your physical being.
Yeah, because we did the first shot. Well, okay, I helped with Defy the Tyrant, but I didn't do any like acting.
Yeah,
It was
or
like
performing.
and the performing
Physical.
part was what really got me, because I knew performing in a band for the music video is like, I started studying. We were studying for the same thing for like fight scenes. It's like, okay, realistic fighting in a movie looks fucking stupid for the most part. Like, effective punching just doesn't look cool. What looks cool? That great big haymaker and the kung fu guys doing all this big movement stuff and like all that flashy. Like, jujitsu looks really dumb. That's why everybody boos when they go to jujitsu, unless you know it and like you tack
Unless
the-
you do it like John Wick.
yeah, yeah. But it was like,
Maybe.
so
Way to go.
we're trying to go 100,000%, and I'm wearing the shoes that I thought would look the coolest. They're my red Converse All Stars. And you ever had Converse All Stars have about, a 1/16 of an inch of padding in the bottom. And then I decided I had to do the big jump every time the song stops, which Unravel has stops like a total of like 15 stops.
Yes.
And then on take 15, when I had been jumping on the concrete floor in the Converses for hour 3 of filming, when I went home that day, I couldn't even peel those things off my feet. They were swollen up and just bloody and bruised.
Yeah,
It was so bad.
It's painful. It's painful. But that was the seed for later, after the music video or the visual P was made, kind of spiraling into the Cue the Muses thing. Like we did that. He sent a riff, and he asked about collaborating on a singular song. I was like, I hadn't written a song with anybody in forever, like 5 or 6 years or something. Like I kind of took a break from guitar, to be honest with you. That thing sat. I probably picked up a guitar for about a 5-year period. I was just video, and I picked up a guitar maybe once a month.
Well, I think you guys faded out about the same time we did.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
once Floyd's closed,
That was
everybody
a big
was like,
catalyst.
break time.
That was a big catalyst, yeah, man. And we had gone and done, Kill Clouseau was the band, and we were together for like 10 years, 10 straight years. And we'd gone and done the recordings with Michael Birnbaum and Chris Bittner, which were the producers of Coheed and Cambria. We went to the same studio. And came back, got teamed up on some management stuff, and then, we burned up all the momentum we had in the wrong direction, is how I would summarize it without saying specific people. and that was it, man. I mean, we were just kind of like starting to get tapped out, and I was the only one in the band that had a kid. So I was starting to get a little bit like, man, I am, from a managerial standpoint, trying to pull off all the show bookings and all the logistical stuff that was involved, and just trying to make the connections and the networking and the graphic design, and then it just started adding up in a major way. And I was like, I kind of miss getting to practice the music too, guys, like outside of our practices that we're trying to keep up. And then there was this thing growing, which was Rough Cut Productions. So I was like, every bit of it that I put in, I got exactly what I put in back. I could control it.
Yeah, that's a success story in its own, man, because you started up your own company. From buying a camera from nothing, right?
Yeah.
And then that is your job. I mean,
It is, and I mean,
it's
I-
not a side job.
That's right. No, it's. The video work is still a huge passion. Even when I'm doing the projects for clients, I mean, granted, some are more artistically explorative than others. Like the Trans Am stuff is an immense opportunity for storytelling because it's like these full movies, and they need to be cool. I mean, it's like it can't be slapstick. So
That Bandit one was awesome.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you. Yeah, and that was a nerve-wracking experience. It was with Burt Reynolds before he passed away. This was back in 2016 when we filmed it. And so that was nerve-wracking as hell, actually, because I had actually denied him a teleprompter. So their handler.
You denied Bert.
Because
teleprompter.
I know. Well, it's like if we do a teleprompter.
Who is this scraggly-haired pompous?
I know.
son of a
I was
bitch?
like, I thought I was crazy. I was like, I second guessed myself a million times going into that shoot. So we were going to have him for 4 hours. That's all he's coming in for. I normally get, when we're filming, I normally would film for like 12 hours. I had 4 hours that he'd be here, and then he's flying out again. I'm like, okay. And then I denied the teleprompter because I had seen a video of him selling an actual original Bandit that was somehow connected with one of the movies. He'd gotten on and read from a teleprompter and sold one of those like a couple months before. And it was terrible. I mean, I think even he would look at it and say, like, he does it. That's not a representation of Burt Reynolds.
Was it like? Did it look like?
It was bad.
Hello,
man.
this
I mean,
is
it was
Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, it pretty
I would like
much
to welcome
was.
you
I was
to
like, no
today's
charisma. I was like, and I didn't want to, and they wanted me to write the script. And I'm like, I'm not going to write Burt Reynolds' personality on paper.
Right.
I need to just do what I do, which is have a real conversation interview with him. And I'll pull out all the cool stuff. I'll make it sound great, I promise, But I need that real experience of getting to talk in a conversation. And then we did it. It worked out. But I was nervous as hell all the way leading up to it. I mean, and even on the day of, there was like a lot of apprehension that I was having to like, I promise it's going to be okay. I'm the one editing it. I promise the way that I edit it, it's going to work out fine. But meanwhile, I was still pretty green. I mean, that was the biggest thing I had done up to that point. So I was inside. I was shitting in my pants. It's like, God, I hope I'm right. Oh my God, I'm about to interview Burt Reynolds. I was like so nervous. And everyone from the whole company, everyone that worked in the facility, sat behind me, including the owners, watching. And I'm normally I'm by myself for an interview. Normally, I want this to be a nice personal conversation, but everyone's watching.
All
and
these
it's just
people
like,
are watching.
Tell me in the 78 people.
and man, yeah,
How
like,
are you doing that?
everything I said, I was like, oh my God, it's so much monitoring. How do I make this feel natural? But it worked out. So
It's cool. Is it up on roughcutproductions.com?
yes, it sure is. Roughcutproductions.com. I got all my videos up there, or all my biggest videos up there.
All right, because that link is in the description. If you
Oh,
wanna check
great.
that out.
Nice,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
That's in there.
It's
CueTheMuses.com in there. Your guys' YouTube.
Yeah.
You guys' Facebook.
Yeah.
In fact, you guys have a Cue the Muses podcast.
We have.
Oh, yeah.
We're 12
Oh,
episodes
that's right.
in.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I just-
tomorrow will be the 12th.
Yeah, we may.
Have to. Don't tell me it's the first
We'll
time.
figure.
We did this. This will count for
I
the
just
podcast.
happen to have a completely undoctored snippet.
Okay.
I've been hearing about this.
Yeah.
Let's,
I've heard something
'cause I
about
know other people want to check out your podcast. So let's.
Okay.
Should we see what you guys are about?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what.
I wanna see what we're
Do you,
I haven't watched anything past like the second one we did. I don't watch them back
I gotta
anymore.
find it. How do we find it? Oh, here we go. Well, what?
do you need a countdown?
Yeah, that'd be great. Buddy.
Okay, well, let me know whenever you're ready.
All right, ready, go.
1, 2, 3,
Oh.
go.
You are now entering the Cue the Muses podcast. Please reserve submission of any joy meter statistics until after the program.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to episode 4 of Cue the Muses podcast
It
series.
worked. It has worked this time. This was time to classic subliminal implanting.
Cue the Muses is everywhere. So
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's
Now,
awesome.
we're hoping that the thing is that it's a surprise of bullshit that I had to go through the editing room. Like, how do I even? And at some point, you improv so much, you're like, cuethemuses.com or
It's awesome. I don't know what to call it yet.
Cue the Muses.
Okay, I've got an 80% grasp on what I'm doing here.
Holy shit! I mean, we play around, but we're Cue the Muses.
Again, play into the boogers because everybody likes a good booger joke.
Yeah, and there's big zoom shots on the boogers and the post edit
Yeah.
as well, like how I kind of did that, and because that was new territory
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
You know, those boogers kept being a problem.
If you want them every week, you have to let us know.
A booger on your shoulder on that.
Absolutely.
But,
It was like we can save all that for the next one.
Yeah. Put each one of everybody's social media accounts on some whitelisting page, and even that doesn't seem to be as user friendly as we had hoped.
That's classic spiderweb networking right there.
Yeah. But in fact, just to be clear, if you don't know this, because we kind of learned this, you have to use one of those. And you'll find that, ladies and gentlemen, in Cue the Muses, the show that you can watch at any point for free.
And we are back. I like
And
you guys to
boogers and whitelisting.
That's the show right
That's
there.
Boogers and whitelisting.
We mainly just talk about Cue the Muses and boogers.
Yeah.
But we don't even,
I like to take when I pick my boogers out. I like to put them on a white piece of paper.
it's like a spider web.
Yeah, like because you what Ren and Stimpy. Remember Stimpy had nose goblins under the table.
Oh, I forgot about all
At
that.
the end of Ren and Stimpy, there was always something different. Stimpy's sad. He's crying. He's like, I don't want to end the show, Ren. And Ren would come up with some stupid thing for Stimpy to do. My favorite one was, why don't you play with your nose goblins? He goes, oh, yeah. And he turns the table upside down. And there's a bunch of fucking boogers. It's
Thanks,
like
Ren.
aliens all over
Yeah.
it.
Oh, that's really
So I did cut that up a bit. I watched
You
the
did.
podcast, and
But I mean, that's how I remember
you
it.
guys put like a lot more information than we do. We are far more. You guys are like informative, and we're more comedy. So I was like, you know what? There's two ways to get the tallest building. Either you build a bigger building or you knock theirs down. So I just kind of brought you guys down to our
now we're at the level.
I love
We're
that.
talking
that's
about
great.
burgers and subliminal messaging.
That's what we kind of
Getting
end up
mixed up
doing.
We kind of talked about this earlier. This is a podcast or a show. We call it show.
Yes.
It's inherently, I suppose, it is a podcast, but not quite as form factor, I suppose.
Well, yeah, and podcasts have been the thing now for a while, right? And I was so late to the podcast wagon. I listen to music when I drive.
Absolutely.
And when Amber, who's my girlfriend of 10 plus years, and the coolest person on the planet, she started listening to podcasts and told me I need to start listening to podcasts. And I'm like, oh hell no, I ain't gonna listen to podcasts. I don't like hearing people talk that much. It used to bug me. My father would listen to NPR in the morning. I'm like, good morning, this is NPR. The first thing in the morning, I was just like, oh, shut up, turn it off, and put my Metallica, whatever on. But I started late, and I started listening to it recently, but the only podcast I listen to is a podcast called Stuff to Blow Your Mind. And it's two nerdy dudes, Joe and Rob, and they talk about nerdy stuff, scientific stuff. But they have a series within their series called The Weird House Cinema. And The Weird House Cinema is they take a movie, and they do it like on Fridays or something. They'll take a movie, like a weird old movie, and they have a platform for how they start talking about the movie. They give an elevator pitch for the movie. They talk about the people that were in it. It's very informative, and then they kind of give you a play-by-play of the movie itself towards the end and walk you through the whole thing. Some of them are really stupid, and some of them are great. Like they did one on the movie Blade, the Wesley Snipes vampire movie Blade, and I was like, what it does is like when they get done and I listen to it, I have to go watch that movie. That's where I found the Super Inframan. And when I heard about the Super Inframan, they talked about it, and I was like, what? I'm listening to this podcast. I'm like, this sounds like absolutely 100% something that I would love, like absolutely love, because I love like old Godzilla movies, you know, where they dress guys up in costumes and they beat each other up. Yeah. And the old Japanese style, you know, kaiju movies. So when I got home from there, what I did immediately is I went and I purchased Apple TV, the only fucking thing you can find it on, and I bought Super Inframan for like $7, and I watched it. And I got home and I watched it. I made a drink and I watched it and I laughed and I fell asleep. The next morning I got up, my kids woke up and I made them watch it. And then just so happens like Ash and his son had a trip scheduled. You and Tristan came down and we were going to a show together or something.
Polyphia.
The Polyphia show,
Yeah.
Killer.
So good.
And you guys came down to my house and I was like, and I told him, I was like, man, Ash would love this. And I was like, you gotta watch this movie, man. I just watched this movie, you gotta hear about it. And then I was like, when I said the Super Inframan, you were like,
I lifted up my shirt and I showed this undershirt. Yeah, I was like, you're talking about like another parent of mine or something. Like, oh, you know my mom? What?
it was so weird, but you said it like it brought you through like you hadn't thought about it in forever.
It had been a long time, a very long time, and then he put it on. I kind of wanted to just hang out because we don't see each other in person that much, and I didn't really want to watch a movie.
I made him watch a fucking
He
movie.
put it on, so
it
it's like in the background, and I was totally sucked back in. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh my god, I stole so much from this movie in Cue the Muses. I was like, this is if you want to see inspiration, you could just watch that movie and then watch Cue the Muses. I'm like, okay, yeah, that the guy that edited and directed, like, yeah, that's
I get it.
That I totally connected that style of humor. And I realized, I don't know if everyone even knows what Cue the Muses is. I just didn't realize.
I've been waiting for the opportunity to ask that question.
Elevator pitch.
The elevator pitch of
Elevator
Cue
pitch.
the Muses is, we are a rock band, all right? And
So you are a band.
We are a rock band that currently does not perform. We'll see if that.
Sure.
Wait, this is the real description of Cue the Muses, not of the premise of the show.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
actually talking about okay.
Now we're talking about like in the show. We might perform at some point.
Okay.
But in the show, Cue the Muses is a rock band, but we recorded an album. We made a scripted sci-fi comedy show. And at first, it was going to be a movie, a singular, album experience.
Like a one-off.
A one-off. And then, as I began editing, and there was a question mark at the beginning, but would it be better as a show? And so that's what it ended up being, because each 30-minute episode unveils a new song off the album, kind of gives the opportunity to, one, start releasing it sooner, because the movie aspect of it is turned into this massive endeavor. I mean, we're talking
I got
about
a phone call from Ash. Hey, what if it wasn't a movie?
what if it's a show? And
Hear
we could
me
break
out.
This up.
And I was like 100%.
It kind of it just makes more sense. And so when you watch one episode, you're going to experience ridiculously terrible comedy in a B-movie style setting, right? And then it's going to go to hopefully what you experience as an epic music video that you're like, where the hell did that come from?
Absolutely.
And it's, as an artist, it's the most fulfilling endeavor I've ever been a part of. I mean, it's like it's an encompassment of everything I know how to do, other than martial arts. That's the only thing we haven't worked in yet. But outside of that, like, I mean,
worth anything.
yeah. So it's so much fun. We have 2 episodes out so far. Each one of those episodes, and we're not even talking about the recording and the writing and the filming and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Just the editing end of it. We're talking about around somewhere between 600 to 700 hours of editing per episode.
Oh my god!
And that, if you just break it up into 40-hour work weeks, you start thinking about it. So it's like I pretty much took off a half a year just making that, paying to make that. I mean, and Dick as well, as far as paying, like, we've only spent money on it because it's like a passion for us. We're totally independent, and we're hoping we're making something that you'd be like, I can't believe this was independently made. And we have right now 2 more episodes to go, and that'll complete what the first album / season. We'll see where it goes from there. But hopefully what we'd really love is that we could get maybe at that point, and we've got a few different aspects of how to try to do this, but we'd love for it to get picked up as an actual show with a real budget and make album 2, season 2, but have an actual budget. Because again, we're just doing this totally out of pocket.
I think it's funny as fuck.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Thanks,
I thought it was. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Yes, I can feel it. But I was like, no.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, so much of it is so fun to make. I mean, there's acting, there's the filming, there's the script writing, there's the actual music writing, there's the recording of the music, and every song has a different singer on it from a different band throughout. Right now, the Southeast.
Yep.
So it's like this amazing. So that's why we haven't performed, because it's 10 people that all live in different areas that have come together to make this one mutual thing. And so the way that we could perform it, there's a multitude of options there, but it's very challenging to get that many people together.
Oh, I'm sure.
And here's the other thing. When you listen to it, we've never all played together at the same time.
Shit.
This was really built together over the course of time, but me and Dick started off with these guitar riffs, submitted these to other musicians. It was a guitar. It was just 2 guitars and 5 long-ass songs.
That's how it was written. We didn't, because Ash and I literally, when I reached out to Ash to write a song, I sent you the riff, and then when he sent a counter riff back, it was like game on. You know, as I sent him like a riff, and then what he sent back was just so alien to me in my expectations of what was going to come back, and that's when like this thing clicked, and I was like, I want to keep going down this path, this musical path. And so when the album, we just wrote it together, just him and I. So we had no drummer, had no bass player, no vocalist. We were just writing guitar songs, and we're nerding out together as 2 guitar players who both love Metallica, who both grew up, both loved the Load album. You know, 2 rejects
and Tool. I mean, Tool is definitely
Tool's up there. You know, there's a
my personal favorite band. I'm still to this day.
Mine might
until I die.
Mine might be Killswitch.
Yeah, there you go. See, we got that peppered in too. So
but it was like the songs were just guitar songs, and then we're okay. But we want to move forward with it. And like I know, I've talked to Brett, the guy, the producer that we work with in Tennessee.
Hessler?
Brett Hessler, yeah.
That's who recorded it, and he will perform in it. I mean, he's
what?
Yeah. We have all the songs. They're all recorded. We're sitting on top of 3 other songs that are all like 10 plus minutes.
Damn.
And Brett is
his song is funny. His song, when we first recorded all the songs, wrote everything, we hired the drummer Timbo, buddy of mine, amazing drummer. Never heard the songs, or we sent him the songs, and he was like, yeah, I can do that. And he's like, and they sent us a couple ideas, and Ash had a couple reserves, and I was like, yeah, trust me, he's good, he's got it.
Really wanted a drummer that was going to be able to add something to the music, not just hold it down. Because the music's like it's kind of progressive,
Absolutely
goes a lot of places, and it's like I want the drum. I remember telling Tim, we want the drums to be a feature. Not just the backbone, but like an actual feature. So if there's ever been an opportunity where if you want to show off, this is the project to do it.
Feel like overplaying.
Yeah, do it. We want you to do it. Yeah,
please.
And knowing that I'm gonna
and,
film it. Yeah. And entertaining drums is amazing.
And I don't want to take away the attention from Cue The Muses, but Dick, you're in like what, 4?
I counted it the other day. I'm in 6.
You're in 6 different.
We need 9.
Are
you need to get to 9.
Halfway there.
Are you writing for all 6 of those projects?
I do write in all the projects I'm in.
Okay.
Now, various degrees of writing.
Okay.
And I had this conversation with some guys that I'm practicing with here locally last night, and I can't talk about who they are,
sure.
but eventually it'll be out there. And it was like, for this particular group, I want to write specifically to what they have, because it's like I'm kind of like a temporary thing, and it's an okay thing, but
that's got to be such a challenge because and maybe I'm just fucking one-dimensional, but I feel like you have your style. You have your style of playing, and this is it. And I don't know about you, but I can't fucking play outside of my style.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
You get into your pocket and your comfort zone and where you're at. And
yeah.
I definitely have like a comfort zone.
Yeah.
And particularly what this past 2 years have been the two most incredibly amazing years of my life.
Sure.
For a multitude of reasons. The biggest reason is my son, who is now 14.
Yeah.
Is playing, learning guitar and writing.
I'm seeing the videos.
Yeah, and
Yes.
he's in this phase where he's that fucking afterburner phase, man.
Yeah.
It's like when you're that age. I remember going through it when I picked a guitar up, and I was like, okay, I don't remember learning as fast as him. I remember seeing some videos after I've been playing for a year, and it was pretty garbage. It was,
Right.
it was like hot dumpster fire.
You didn't
rolling down the
grow.
hill.
You didn't grow up around a rock dad.
I grew up
Right?
around a folk mom.
Oh, interesting.
And she
okay.
played acoustic guitar,
Oh, all right.
and there was always music in the house. But my parents split when I was in first grade. She was in Oregon. I moved here with the old man, ex-cop, hardcore army guy. You know what I mean? And not so much music, but he always encouraged it until he caught me watching Beavis and Butthead. Turn that shit off. But with my son learning now, it's helped me help him help me. In teaching him, he
Classic.
teaches me back. His son is actually a metaphor for teacher. Chiron is his name, and Chiron is the centaur teacher who taught Achilles everything he knows. It's also an All That Remains song that is about a teacher. The Chiron song is about a mentor, and that's what the name is. And watching him play and taking that into retrospect to when Ash and I started writing, and again I mentioned when he wrote something counter melody back to what I had sent him. At first, it didn't make sense to me as music. It was like, the fuck was that? Is this what? Like, was that what? Was that a? Was
That's
that a
how good I am.
5/6? Was that a 13/7? Like,
This
hold
guy
on.
doesn't know how to play
Hold on.
shit.
I was like, hold on. I can play that. 7 hours later, what the fuck was he doing? But that I was like, okay, the hardest thing is what's going to be the best thing, right, for you, and getting through that. And I learned more writing music with Ash to help me, figure out, because we wrote around each other's stuff. It's like, okay, I have this riff, and there's never, no, I need to change that. It should do this. It was like, okay, this is it. How do I write to this?
Damn.
Without playing anything he's playing.
Right.
The idea was almost entire of the
How
album.
to compliment it without writing over it.
Yeah. How do I write something that sounds cool but also makes what he's playing sound even cooler?
Yeah.
And it was like, that was the two guitar players writing an album, and that's helped me tremendously. And it's become an addiction that I can't stop. It is literally an addiction. Writing has become an addiction. I have a file on I have a recording rig at my house. I think I have 200 active sessions that are unfinished.
Jesus.
And I go back, take breaks, I come back, and I do this and that. And writing with other people is what I crave more than anything. So when Fighting Giants was there, writing with Fighting Giants, great. I have stuff that I write that I know is Cue the Muses season 2 stuff, and it's like when I come to something like that, it's like I know, okay, this is that. I'm shelving it. When he's ready, I've got some stuff to pull out for the table and to start. Then Jason Cupp calls me, hey, let's do some core stuff. I want to write some new songs and all that. I'm like, yep. Hard rock, yep. And then my group's metalcore, more metalcore stuff.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I can see being able to transition from core to what you're doing. It is more hard rock versus straight up metal. So there isn't so much. Don't want to go with this person or that person. I don't know. Could go either way. So.
Yeah. And with Jason's stuff, those guys are so good, and he is such a fun person to be in the room with.
Absolutely.
It's and I just love playing with those guys. Travis couldn't keep going, and Jake couldn't keep going. They both live far away, and it was they got Nick rough.
Well, you're not exactly close yourself.
Yeah, but the thing is, I still have ties here, and I'm here quite a bit.
Absolutely.
I'm here working all week this
gotcha.
week. But and then when David moved to Texas, the Giants were somewhat disbanded.
Yeah.
So we started playing around with the idea of my son playing bass in a band, and he wanted to play. And now this isn't gonna be a thing that's permanent, because my son, I can already tell he's on his own journey, and he's not going to be his father's bass player.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
inevitable.
yeah, it's like so. But I just told him he was in a couple of bands, and it was like he bounced through one that was like the Metallica cover band. Like he was with a couple of guys, all they wanted to play was Metallica, and Kyron, I could tell, was just like, I like Metallica, but it's not his thing. He likes like not Polyphia, but there's a couple other bands, local Tallahassee band called Meridians.
My son's into this band too, and I'm planning to go catch him at a
mutual
show.
friend. They are fucking
Meridians.
incredible. They are they're like Polyphia Juniors. Okay,
Right down there.
Meridians. They actually played.
We are saying it
recently.
right.
I believe Medians.
Tallahassee M Band.
Medians.
Yeah, they're like.
I actually believe their album just came out on Spotify.
Yep.
And I think I haven't looked at the numbers, but my son was quoting some decent numbers.
They're like
that they've got going, and they're
fully instrumental.
It's
They're
very.
fully
I mean,
instrumental.
yeah. It's like. I mean, it's very Polyphia-esque, but with less
math rock
less,
is what
it's math
Kyron
rock,
calls it.
yeah.
He calls
Yeah,
it math
definitely.
rock. And then there's another thing like Twinkle Rock is another one. That sounds like really weird, but it's like it's a guitar style, like the Twinkle guitar style. It's like really
Sounds like a lot of
pretty stuff, kind of stuff. Yeah, really busy, but
it's cool, man.
busy,
Yeah. They're going at it. It's really neat.
And it was like that. That's the direction he's going. I can see like he's going to be more experimental. He's not locked down in Metallica, chug, chug, chug. I told him, you're going to have your father's right hand.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Like he's playing the other day, and he's trying to play Deftones or something, a really muty song. And it was Slipknot. It was biggity diggity 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 whatever song that is, I can't remember. But
Might be a few
it's
hundred.
really difficult. And he's sitting there playing it, and he wasn't muting. I was like, "You got to mute it," and he wasn't muting. And so I taught him. I was like, "Look, bring it down a little lower. Get aggressive with that palm, and like start chugging on it." And it took that weird.
Box of ping pong balls.
You gotta grip it.
I'm
sorry. Get aggressive.
I just got so specific.
Sorry, I go on tangents.
Is that
like
duality?
It is duality.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, the muted part.
Yeah.
And it's a weird time signature because it's like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 on the different note pattern. And he's sitting there doing it, like playing it. And I was like, "You got to mute it." And I said, "Let me see it." And then I try to play it, and I fumble it, and I can't fucking do it. And I was like, "You're getting pretty fucking good." But I need to show you how to mute it right, because I could mute it, but he could play it. And then, that kind of thing with him is where he's going. But anyways, where I'm getting at, with David out of the picture from Fighting Giants, there was a running joke with Dave. And David was leaving. And Jeff, the guitar player, and I kept hanging out with Dave. And Jeff has a newborn baby and a wife. And he said, "I'm going." She said, "Where the hell are you going?" He said, "I got to go to practice. It's the last one. It's Dave's last night." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And then like a week later, Dave's still there. And then I called Jeff and said, "Hey, we're going to Ducks in Crawfordville." He's like, "I'll be there in a minute." She said, "Where the fuck are you going?" He's like, "I'm going to Ducks." "What?" He said, "It's Dave's last night." She said, how many fucking last nights Dave got?" He said, "Dave's last night last week." So then I was like, we talked like, well, that's the band, Dave's last night. That's the band. And
That's pretty funny,
we
actually.
call it, yeah, it's so silly. And it's it is what it is. We're not trying to do anything. We're just doing something. And we're writing music. It's cool. It's different. Kyron's playing bass a little bit, and I brought my buddy of mine, Tim Matthews, who was he was the bass player for Inside the Nine. No, I'm sorry, bass player for 86 The Earth, and the front man vocalist for a band called Ruleless back in the day. If you guys remember Ruleless, it was him and Jeff. Tim, we call him Roadkill because he rides a Harley. buys old piece of shit Harleys, fixes them up, kind of like somebody else I know, and
No.
and you know,
Pieces of shit, they're just all broke down.
he usually wrecks them and then rebuilds them and it gets better.
Now that sounds like somebody I know.
But he came out of retirement because he joined the Army Reserves and he went overseas for a year. And when he came back from his service being deployed, he was used to like, okay, shooting guns every day, blowing shit up, shooting rocket launchers and stuff. He's like, now I'm back stateside, going back to the plumbing job. He's like, I need to do something. I was like, well, let's do the band. He was like, fuck yeah, we'll do the band. So he's singing for the band, Dave's Last Night. So Tim Matthews, Jeff Withers, myself, and kind of right now, Kyron on bass.
So no Dave.
No Dave. But it is Dave's Last Night, and he is our logo. You guys, I'll pull a picture of him up and I'll
I
show you.
have Cue the Muses Afraid. Should we play some?
Ooh, yeah, sure.
Should we
Play whatever you want to.
See these guitar compliments? 'Cause
Yeah.
There's a bunch right up front.
Cool, yeah.
I noticed that and I was like, oh, look at them playing off each other.
You got the whole video
Thanks, man.
queued up.
Yeah, whole video.
Awesome.
9 minutes and 16 seconds.
I'm into it.
Yeah, Brett was thrilled with the time length of these songs. They recorded.
Yeah.
He did. Oh yeah. By the before you play it, Brett, when we tracked with him, he is also the bass player, the recorded bass player.
Right.
So in the videos, we've got Russ's bass player.
Yeah, Hunter.
Hunter
Yeah.
is he learned the songs and he's performing them in the video, but on the actual album, Brett wrote and tracked all of the bass parts. And that, I mean, I say that because that's a big deal because that was another.
Oh, it was
a whole
amazing.
other
Yeah,
aspect.
we love what he put on it, and Hunter was totally down to learn it and be in the videos and stuff. And it takes some effort just to even. I mean, one to learn the songs because they're weird, you know, and long, and it's like these are long songs. I was like, yeah, I tried to learn, you know.
9 minutes of this, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool though. But yeah, you get a little bit of Dave. Apparently it was not his last night. Got some cool
This was
glasses,
prior to the last night.
Yeah, this
some cool goggles on.
This was prior to Dave's Last Night, and it's funny, you know, when Dave went through a big life change, and it happened during this. And now, when people go through big life changes, a lot of times that means like self-destruction, tear down the temple to rebuild anew, better. And so, you know, during the filming of this, David was in the process of tearing down the temple, and he hadn't rebuilt the temple yet. He has since rebuilt the temple, and he's you know an amazing person. He's doing amazing out there. And it, you know, looking back on this was like when he wrote it, when he tracked it and performed it, and the subject matter particularly of his performance of this song, that's like it's where he was. And the song is kind of about someone being pulled in multiple directions within their own mind, and it's exactly what Dave was going through. And it was like this song, I think, was pretty therapeutic for him to get to that place, that rebuilt temple.
Who writes the lyrics?
Well, Cody every singer wrote their own lyrics.
Yes.
So in this, Cody, my old singer from Kill Clouseau, he wrote his. But they collaborated on the general subject matter, and they understood what was going to be happening in the episode that wasn't edited yet. I showed them the script, and you know, but we gave everybody free reign to come up with whatever they wanted to. We just wanted it to be something that had to do with human experience, because we're fighting an AI. You know, we're trying to beat an AI. That's the premise of the show. And AI has put out a song that is stealing creativity from the world because it's such a good, terrible song. And, you know, we're fighting back by entering people's minds with mind travel and collaborating with their inner muses to bring back these pieces. So in this particular video, we're inside the mind of a guy that has split personality. And Cody is one personality and Dave is the other side of that personality inside the guy's mind, is the general idea.
Yeah.
And
And they're singing about the stages of grief.
Stages of grief, yeah.
Was another point on it.
that's a good segue point. 3.
Lay it on me, catfish.
thoughts that aren't my own. Still, they're all I know. Making me their faithful love. Your fate is unknown. But no matter how much heat I make, can't burn it down. Burn it down. Burn it down. Burn it. Bury your head deep in your sand. Your emotions drive you insane. Twisting and tearing the threads, entangle the pride, control and manipulate the molecules. I won't fight, just fucking take it. Do whatever, just don't break. It's never seen the light before. You just get one, I don't have more. If love is brief, nowhere to go, then wretched torment stops the flow. These errant thoughts might be my own. Collapse to fetal, then to prone. I see them cresting rolling hills. They'll never stop, they'll never fill. An inner voice that sounds the same wells up from an unknown plane. A sharp incision, ambition lost a finished thought, but at what cost?
realize that either.
Yeah.
I just want you to really be thinking about it in that black space.
Incoming jump scare.
And we're back here.
That's Cue the Muses. That was the second song off the second episode. And our first episode had Nadira.
Yep.
Well, she was in Shadow of the Earth at the time that she recorded with us. Totally different style singing, different style song. I mean, it's still progressive in that it changes parts a lot, but it's kind of more. It's got more upbeat parts to it. It's like got kind of like there's a different vibe to that song.
Yeah.
for sure.
So like to paint the color tone for the songwriting, like the first song, My Soul is an Element is what it's called, was a song where like more of the base of the song was my songwriting, and then Ash wrote on top of that to give it that color. Then Cult Classic, which is called Afraid now, the song that you just watched, that's a song that Ash wrote the foundation for, and then I wrote around it. A lot of that volume swelly stuff, because that riff, the riff that you open up with, that dancing.
Yeah, I love that.
I was like, when I heard that, I was like, oh, it's so cool. Like, I'm not gonna pick anything with that, because then it's just because it's a busy, pretty. It's an interesting riff to listen to. I was like, I'm
It's
not
very
gonna,
melodic.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pick with that and then counter it somehow. I was like, I'm just gonna I didn't realize it, but it was like inner Kurt Hammett volume swells. And then we didn't think about it. After we recorded, Ash and I took a road trip back home together from Tennessee after the first or second recording trip, and we went through like the nerdy coming back through Metallica, the Load album and stuff, and I realized listening to Load was such a huge influence for me.
Yes.
And people can
And Reload was more of an influence for me.
Okay.
Yeah, we found this out about
We like
each
them
other.
both,
Yeah.
but Reload was the one I listened to more, and he listened to Load more.
I love to the very fucking fabric of my being Load and Reload. I really
That's
do.
awesome, man. Yeah, great.
They're
I'm a kill 'em all guy. I can't stand that shit.
but it's like, but that band, that Metallica band, they did the gamut, and then what happened? They conquered the world, right?
Yes.
For forever, through the '80s, the early '90s, they conquered the world. And then they had the top album of the fucking century at the time, with the Black Album, and then they toured and they just vicious, like amazing. And then they're like
unrelenting.
Took 2 years off, and they all went and did whatever the fuck they wanted to do, and like God,
cut their hair.
They found themselves. Everybody's mad they cut their hair. Well, guess what? 3 years later, everybody else cut their hair. Then Bon Jovi had the spikes in the back and the thing in the front, and every fucking buddy did that.
Oh my
Even
God.
some people from Tallahassee, I seem to recall. I won't say any names, with the long hair in the front, little spiky thing, but the Karen thing, I was like, but I was like, I don't care what they look like.
Yes.
Keeping it real with these silly haircuts.
That's right.
Some of us couldn't keep it. I had to shave mine off because it started falling out and looking weird in the back.
It's in retreat, buddy. It's in retreat.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
But the album in its entirety is actually just 5 songs, but because of the length of those songs, that equates to a 45-minute album. I mean, we just divided it into 5 songs.
So you're talking about thousands of hours of editing?
Well, yeah, literally, yeah. So I've got to basically I need another 6 months. I mean, I've been working on it, but in doses, because I had a baby a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Like round 2 for me. I have
Happy
a 16-year-old.
birthday, Felix.
Thank you. Yeah. He's amazing. But that was definitely like it takes some time to be a dad all over again with that and stuff. So it's been harder to take off as much time as I took off in the first round. Now we're getting to that point again where I'm going to start. I see these windows and pockets where I can take off larger chunks again coming around the corner. I'm really excited about it. Episode 3 is so exciting. I can't tell you. Again, we filmed all this already. We're sitting on the song. It has.
Have we
I don't
told
even
anybody
think.
who
Let's
the
just go ahead and
singer
say
is?
the singer on this next song is.
You guys know who he is. He's in a band.
He's in a band
in Tallahassee, Florida.
The mega
and
rock
he fronts
singer.
the band who I believe was the first guest on your show.
Russ?
Russ Skinner.
Russell Skinner.
Fuck yes.
And there he is.
There he is. Hey, what's up, Russ?
Russ.
Russ killed it on the next song that we are going to. Thank you, man. Great work to you. I can't wait for the world to know what you did with us. But I mean, your Captain Speaking. This is the lead singer. Your Captain Speaking is fantastic. Our combination is something I've never heard. Russ participate on because the music's so different, and he just killed it. He brought this whole I'm telling you, every singer on the album brought a certain dynamic of just like a tribute to rock in a different way, like a different genre. And Russ totally brought this. I don't want to label it, but it's I'm so excited about it. And the story content that happens in this episode is some of the funnest stuff that we filmed in the whole filming thing. There's a really fun area that we go to, and there's fun things that happen in the script, and I'm literally
This was the first music video we filmed. It was the first one we filmed.
Yeah, ironically, and the song is the first song. It's the one that we wrote together.
It's the riff I sent you. Yeah.
So if there's a singular song in the album that is the biggest combination of us not having an official Dick was just talking about, I wrote on top of his song, he wrote on top of my song. Now, this one's really a half and half. I mean, it started with a single riff that Dick wrote, but it's the most half and half, and it's the middle song in the album.
Yeah, it goes back and forth. This song almost literally, without describing it to a T, it literally goes back to back, my riff, his riff, my riff, his riff, throughout the song until it gets to the end, and then the end is this whole thing I'm not even going to talk about. It's like a flying saucer.
It's like a call and response type of thing?
Yeah, it's very much call and
response.
It
feels very,
That was that riff I sent you, the riff I sent, and then when he wrote back, it was like, okay, your riff, then he wrote a response. Yeah. And the response was like, what the hell is this? But then when we recorded it, it was like, when it got to where it was, we didn't know who was going to sing it. And this one we actually this was the one Russ, we hadn't thought of Russ yet, and this was the one where we actually shopped a couple of singers, and we had we reached out to one guy, he was not responding and all that. We reached out to another guy who was great, and he auditioned, and it was really good, but it was a direction that was just not. It didn't feel like it was in this category,
Russ just simply brought a flavor we definitely didn't have on the album yet, and it just felt right. It was that's totally it right away.
When you mentioned Russ, I was like, because you're the one who brought him up, and I was like, of course.
Yes.
I felt like an idiot. I couldn't believe I hadn't thought of him before. Because I've always been a fan of him back in.
I was just getting ready to say, Russ, if you're still there, I am just a huge fucking fan of everything that he does. The last Warrior show, he did an acoustic set. It was just him.
So good.
And
so good.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love your Captain Speaking. They're great. All the guys in that band are great. But just him doing that acoustic set by himself was just it was so good. So I'm stoked to hear that he's going to be on this project.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and say it this next song compared to the rest of them. This next song, it's fucking pumping. This one, this was the song that our drummer Timbo, when we recorded, he never played a drum beat to anything until we got in the studio, got behind the kit, and started laying the drums for the album. First time he ever played real drums to the song. He didn't practice at home with his earbuds. He wrote it. This is the kind of writing that he does. He wrote it in his head, and he mapped it out on a chart. And then he sat behind a kit, and he started playing. And this song has one section that's just weird. It's just weird. It's a weird, and I'm going to explain it, but it was the one thing that he had some trouble with, and he was trying to get to it. It's kind of a couple takes. I went back and forth to the sound room with him and came back, and then when he got through that take, he pumped out the other half of the song, the other 3.5 minutes left of
which
the
was
song.
the hardest part. I mean, it was the most climactic.
And all the huge, big things. And he was so pissed when he finally got that stupid little thing that he was hung up on. Yeah. Then he made it through and fucking crushed it.
Yeah.
But then when Russ put his vocals on it, it went to this whole other place. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like I remember when Russ, I first met Russ, he did Sinister Nasty. Do you guys remember Sinister Nasty?
Sounds
I know
familiar.
you do. It was otherwise known as Snasty. And that was my favorite band in Tallahassee. Those guys, they were all dudes who worked at a guitar store. They had a storage shed over there down the road at the storage zone. And I remember walking by and I heard like banging and like, and I walked by and I stopped and I backed up and I was like, there's like two dudes, black t-shirts, with a handsaw cutting a 2x4. I was like, hey, you them guys from the Guitar Center, ain't you? It's like Joe Demerit, Russ and Eddie, and I forget the drummers there. Joe was the bassist, yeah. And I was like, you them guys from the guitar store, right? They're like, yeah, man. I was like, what the fuck are y'all doing in here with this hacksaw? They're like, we're building a band room. I was like, I got like some power tools and stuff in the truck. I was like, man, let me help you. I was like, and so I built their drum riser, I built a divider, built a little booth for their board and all that. I was like, and they got kick-started their shit in there, and they were just fucking fun. I started hearing them playing out at Floyd's and all that. They were like, I wish I had a recording of them. It was like Pearl Jammy, chili peppery, just fun, awesome.
They were a powerhouse group.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody in the band was like mega talented and stuff. And
Eddie played guitar.
yeah.
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 Who was their
impressive.
drummer? Who was your drummer, Russ?
Was it Shannon? No.
No, it wasn't Shannon. Shannon
Okay.
was my drummer at the time.
Okay,
in Company Kane. Me and Cup were
Okay,
doing Company
okay.
Kane. We'll
find out if he's there.
He has the 9-song album now. Russ is on there talking. Hey, man. He said Sinister Nasty. He said, I had the record of Sinister Nasty after 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Oh, shit. Bruce
I've never
was the
gotten to hear
drummer.
it.
Yeah.
Bruce. Yeah. It was great, man. And it was fun because when we went, so we recorded in doses. Like going to Brett, he's out in Tennessee, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And we went and recorded just the guitars and drums, and then we came back with singers. And Kurt and Cody, they went out independently because of how the timing worked out. But everyone else that's on the album came out with us. Me and Dick took them out there, and that's what Russ is mentioning. Like we rode back together and partied, and that was the most I've ever gotten to hang out with Russ. And I was just laughing my ass off the whole time. I mean, we were laughing so hard at so many things that happened on that trip. But anyway, we got to the studio and stuff, and everyone got to hear each other's parts for the first time. I mean, really, we had only gotten like ideas, but we're in the studio, and then each singer's going back there and doing like their full original thing, and we're kind of hearing what they came up with to like in its entirety. And so we're hearing our songs for the first time while it's being recorded by Brett. What a weird, crazy experience. That's a totally different way to write and record.
Unboxing Christmas morning.
Absolutely. And every singer that goes in, we're all looking at each other like giggly. I mean, with goosebumps and like, oh, and even Brett's just like at different parts, and the energy was so magical, man. It was an amazing experience. Yeah.
A unique experience to be able to do it like that, and that's where I said it became so addictive writing and doing it, because that was like the payoff. When you get into the studio, then you hear it back done professionally, and then when the final mixes came in, Brett's final mixes come through, and they're just so good. It's like you can't stop. You don't have time, but it's like writing is not a choice always, and that's why you don't do it, because once you start, it's like game on, and you can't turn it off.
I have a collection of parts and a couple of full songs and stuff that I'm holding on to, but it's like there's certain stuff I would like actually limited myself on to, but just holding on to it for whenever we come back to write again. But the problem is for me, if I start writing with Dick again right now, like I won't have food on the table. Because I get too addicted to stuff. I'm like crazy addictive personality when it comes to working on creating stuff. I can't turn it off. And whatever's the most creative outlet, that always dominates like everything, and then I'll start failing at work, and I'll start failing as a father.
I kind of noticed that stuff about, not all the failure stuff, but I kind of noticed that I get my mind hooked on something, and that's the only thing I fucking do until it's at least 75% done, which is why there's no railing on my deck. know what I mean? I'm like, no, I want to put stairs there, so I can't finish the entire fucking thing. Not done yet.
That's why I have a show that's sitting on hard drives that's already filmed for the last year.
Which is why this room has no AC. Never made it that
Really?
But
I had
75%.
I was like, no, panels are up. Good enough. Go live. I'll do the rest later.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm getting back into writing music myself.
Excellent.
I was in a few bands, and I have several songs that were recorded on a cell phone or some shit, and that's the only record of this music. And those songs are first. They're gonna be put on paper, fucking finally, and done right. And then once those are done, kind of like what you were saying, I'm just so excited about writing music again. Granted, it's going to be for myself. I'm not going out and playing any shows or recruiting bandmates or anything like that. But just being able to be artistic in that sense again is something that I'm really looking forward to.
That's great, man. It's like the kind of people that do it. And this is a conversation I've had with Brad and you, like the kind of people that are artistic type people. I mean, it's. I don't like calling myself an artist, but that's. But it's like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then Ash gave me a book by Rick Rubin where he talks about artistry and like. Everyone is an artist. If you write a speech, if you
absolutely.
If you make your bed, you do it well. It's like there's artistry in everything, and then like whatever your outlet is, certain types of people feed on that, and like those same types of people also are prone to feed on other things in negative ways, and that's why artistic people are very vulnerable to things like addiction and those darker paths. But when you stay true to yourself and stay true to the art and keep going down the road and keep doing it, and then that's the payback for that. It doesn't have to be for anyone else. It is for you.
Yep, exactly.
And it improves your life, and as long as it improves your life, well, damn anything and everybody else and what they say. Like, do it. Keep doing it. Don't stop doing it. I want to hear it.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be months, but it's and I need a lot of help. A lot of fucking help. I have some people that we'll be reaching out to, just recording and understand. I'm not a fucking sound engineer by no means.
It can.
It's a whole roadmap to itself for sure.
It's daunting. That's Pandora's box.
I downloaded the free version of FL Studio, and I opened this up and I was like, what the fuck?
There's a learning curve there. Yeah. It takes a while.
Where's the record button?
Well,
at?
and just to say it, regardless of you doing it as a full band or whatnot, like just getting general rough recordings. I mean, I recommend that for anybody trying to record. Try to record it yourself, but you can use those. You might get to a point where one of them is a standout. You really want to go get it recorded professionally, and you can take those scratch tracks in. You're going to breeze through your recording session a lot faster, save a lot of money.
Absolutely,
and then get somebody that you just can't compete.
Damn,
with
I hadn't thought about that.
I really recommend that because we recorded all of our scratch guitars. That's what the drummer laid down all the drums to. Then we recorded our real guitars on top of on drums because we didn't know. I wanted to hear what the drums were going to be before we laid down our real guitars.
Like I was looking today actually at an electronic drum kit, and man, I almost pressed the fucking button.
Wait till Black Friday,
bro. They were on sale. The electronic drum kit it's like today, ending in a couple hours. It's like $300.
That's pretty good.
Yep, man. I the thing is, I don't play drums.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about buying one of those kits too.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Black Friday to roll around, and I was like eyeballing because you can do it any time. You could get somebody to come in and lay it down. You could sync that up to way better sounding drums inside your DAW. You could hook that up to.
I use Superior.
Yeah, I've got Superior Drummer as well. But I need to relearn how to use it because I haven't used it in so damn long.
It's addicting. It's
you can sync that kit up to
fun.
that. Yeah, it's going to sound amazing.
Yeah, that's what I did. I found a Black Friday electric drum kit.
Yeah, I see it in your little setup there.
I think I have the Alesis Nitro kit. It's like a high school kid's electric drum kit.
Right.
And it has a built-in sounds, and it sounds like an electric drum kit.
Absolutely.
But then you plug the MIDI into the DAW, and then it triggers Superior Drummer 3. Well, then when you put the headphones on, then now you're now it's a different animal.
Yeah, it's a totally
And the
different
trigger
thing.
drums on that sound is a professional drum program that sounds incredible, like right out the box.
Yeah.
Open it up. Andy Sneap drum kit, Bob Rock, boom, and then Iowa. It's one called Iowa, and it's Joey Jordison's kit.
No way.
Sound, and then it's slipped. I was like, holy shit.
Which also, keep in mind, if you had that recorded as MIDI, somebody, playing whoever you got to sit down at that kit,
Right.
play it down in MIDI. You don't even necessarily have to learn how to do all that stuff. You could then provide your sound engineer that MIDI platform, and they could sync it up to all the drums they have access to, make sure it sounds more. It can be a little hard getting the transients to carry over those small ghost notes that build up, and depending on whatever the drum beat is.
Right.
But a seasoned studio guy is going to know how to do that. So then you gave him all the tools. You just got to go in and record some actual guitars over your scratch tracks.
Right.
You already know how every part is that you want to lay down.
That part I got.
Yeah, there you go, dude. I mean,
And you're in the
you
right
breeze
town.
through.
You're in the right town to
Definitely.
do it.
Kyle Alligood is who I'm thinking of immediately, just because he's right here in town. He's great.
When we said studio, that was my first.
Gasoline Alley.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just so available and easy. The rates are very reasonable. You're going to get a superior product than learning how to do it yourself. But
Honestly, I don't think I'd go anywhere else, to be honest with you.
yeah, right on. Yeah. That'd be the place to go. So you
There's
just
that
take all that
loyalty
over.
there. Plus, he's also in a band of somebody's.
Yeah.
You're
Exactly.
captain
Yeah.
speaking. You're captain speaking.
Hey, before we end this, one last thing. Tomorrow is Buck's birthday.
Tomorrow's Buck's birthday?
Yes.
Did anybody figure out what this
Oh
is?
wait, there's another.
Buck has his own sound thing on here. Buck's Laser.
Buck's Laser.
Yep. So Buck, up here, there's 0.00 chance you're still listening, but happy birthday, buddy.
Happy
Wait,
birthday,
you
man.
still got 3. There's another birthday announcement I want to share.
Please.
Somebody from the Cue The Muse team who's a behind-the-scenes guy, but I tell you, the stuff wouldn't be the stuff without him, because in Cue The Muses, it's a very visual experience, and part of that are the props that we use. We use a lot of really crazy props.
The mind travel helmet.
The helmet,
Cadence capture.
the
You guys use a
woobler.
lot of strainers.
Yeah,
That is our
On
prop
top of a
master.
string.
all that stuff is built by a buddy of mine in Wakulla who I went to school with, named Michael Morgan. And Michael Morgan is a fucking fantastic dude. Today is his birthday. He's a cosplay inventor, works at a body shop down there in Crawfordville, and he just came on board and just helped for absolutely nothing but the experience, just to help us, and had put so much time. That helmet, I mean, he put hours and hours and hours into that thing. And today's his birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy
Mike.
birthday,
Happy
Michael.
This one goes out to him.
Go, Sean.
It's your birthday.
We have a couple
All right.
questions in chats if you guys got a little moment.
Okay. Yeah.
You got to scroll back.
Give me the
through
hardest one
through
first.
the rust.
Go back 4 hours.
This is a good one. I like this one.
What do we got?
Samantha asked, what TV show would be a nightmare for you to wake up and find you were trapped in?
Trapped in it.
Well, I would think a Black Mirror episode.
Okay.
Probably something
No,
along
that's a
those lines.
documentary. She said a TV show.
Yeah. Metalhead? Yeah, Metalhead. Yeah, you see that shit that, Boston Dynamics is putting out goddamn robot dogs. Just saying.
I know, man. It's crazy.
Birds aren't real.
I mean, I think I would probably lean. Well, I mean, Stranger Things, something along those lines.
Okay.
You know,
That's
I mean,
regular shit and forward.
yeah, yeah. This is the thing. Is I feel like I'm already in all these shows, so I'm
It's
already.
like
in
you love the shows.
scariest
It's like,
thing.
man, I would really hate if I was in Stranger Things, but it's like, but those kids are having so much fun.
Well, that's the thing.
It's
Each
a
one
fun-
of these, I'm
it's a
thinking,
thing.
but I'd kind of like this part of
Yeah.
it. So I kind of am the attitude. I'll make the best of anything. So,
Which
you
one?
know.
Which one would I hate to be in? Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, that
that's a
Normandy
movie.
Oh, yes, not a show.
it's a
Band of
full
Brothers.
movie.
Band of
There
Brothers.
you
Yeah,
go.
Yeah,
I would,
any military
Yeah.
war zone show.
anything pre 2000s. Once they got rid of the Hummers, war is a different thing. I feel like once the Hummers they started getting the rollover protection for the troop carriers, and now that it's so advanced, I could get on a real tangent right now because there's a book I'm reading called The Chip War, and now I just did this research the other day. In the Vietnam War, missile strikes had an accuracy rating of 6.2%. That's how accurate our missiles were to hit a target that we dropped. And a lot of times they drop bombs from airplanes. The bomb would be lucky to land within 450 feet of the target.
Right.
Lucky, if that's how close it
That's
got.
how D-Day happened. They were miles off. That beach was supposed to be cleared.
Yeah. And when they started using missiles, like when I was a kid, you started hearing like heat-seeking missiles, and that was the thing. And I started thinking about this reading this book because the chip war is about microchips and how technology has gotten smaller.
Yes.
Those original missiles were programmed with computers that were fed with power tubes, hand soldered tubes. Now you play a tube amp.
Yep.
What do you with your Marshall? What do you not do to your tube amp?
Roll it through the
You don't roll it down the stairs.
a lot of fluids.
You don't roll it down the stairs. You don't put it in a super hot environment. You don't leave it in the back of the truck when you're going 120, and you probably don't strap it to a fucking missile and fire it at your enemy and like rely on that. And that's why they didn't work. So then microchips, the solid state chip, became a more reliable circuit for the missiles. And since that technology has advanced, warfare has changed completely. Now it's less person to person and it's more button to button. But that does come back to solid state actually does have a good fucking use, and it's in missiles, not in amplifiers. But I think it's a beautiful thing that tube amplifiers persevere, and tubes found their life and their purpose in creating music, not in guiding bombs.
I've always preferred solid state anyhow.
I'm a big fan of carpet bombing shit.
Sorry, I told you I was going on a tangent.
That's your answer to that question.
I would say The Witcher, because I'd be that poor guy that gets like ran over by the horse.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
I've never seen The Witcher. I played the game. I
pretty
played
I
the
haven't
game.
gotten to watch The Witcher yet.
It's a Superman guy. Plays.
Yes, Henry
right?
Henry Cavill,
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
whatever his
You
English.
seen The
fucking name
Last
is.
of Us?
Oh yeah, that would be a shit show to
Yeah.
wake up to.
Yeah.
And Game of Thrones wouldn't be a picnic either, really.
Never seen an episode of Game of Thrones.
So my first thought was Metalocalypse. You know, because
If you're not in the band, you're screwed. Now hold on, Metalocalypse could be great or terrible. If you're in the band, it's amazing.
If you're in the audience.
If you're in the audience, it's gonna be
Killed by
real bad.
kitties. Release the kitties.
brutal.
What book or series did you wish you could live in?
Okay, all right.
Book or series?
Well, I mean, does it have to be? Or when by series, are we talking about that it could it also
Maybe
be?
a comic book? Or?
Could it be a show?
I'm guessing so.
Because I'd turn it back into something like I'd love to maybe
Three's a
live in.
Company.
No, I was kind of leaning towards something like Tenacious D would just be a ball. That's a series, right?
Wait, book series?
No, it's not a book series.
Book or series.
The problem,
series.
Oh, okay.
yeah, I didn't know if it could qualify as a TV series. I've never read a book series.
A book series?
Yeah.
What?
I have.
I'm
no,
sorry.
never. Yeah, I'm just all video. That's why I make
You're a
videos.
busy dude. It's hard to-
That's cool. No,
I saw the Lord of the Rings series.
the books are better.
I heard.
Yeah.
I heard they don't have 30-minute long slow-mo scenes of Frodo's
they're
face
also
smiling.
Fucking tomes.
Yes, that's
don't
right.
wanna- don't
Could have
wanna
just
know
hopped on
books.
them fucking Eagles in the beginning and dropped that ring off, but whatever.
I know there were some
Yeah.
options to get off this wagon.
There's some
Whatever.
loopholes.
Didn't even
there.
need the dwarves. Didn't even
Wait,
need
they
them.
could fly? The wizard can do some things. Hold on. No,
Just show up, give me that ring.
There's some options. you know.
yeah,
Drop it off. Be like, all right, we're done here.
Yeah.
There's some fireworks.
But it was entertaining. I liked it.
Put your hairy.
So that's again another quality answer to the question. Richard's read many series, right?
I
Are you a series guy?
usually read books like that I don't want to be in. Like
You don't
Yeah,
want to be a
like-
tube amp in a missile.
in a missile. I don't want to be a tube amp in a missile. My favorite book is a book called a novel called The Fisherman by John Langan,
What's it
and it's about a man trying to catch essentially the devil, but Cthulhu. like the Dark Lord Cthulhu. It's like a Lovecraft spinoff. But in the Fisherman, the character loses someone close to him, or in the mountains, and like it's like this story, like the creek runs too deep. You know, like Lovecraft's usually like all the normalcy, but there's a thin veil to the other side, and that veil's so thin, like the creek in the mountains, it's just a little too deep, and you go too far down the creek, and then eventually the fisherman is another person that he's chasing after, who,
spoiler alert,
who has found how to catch the Dark One. It's a really cool book. I don't know, it's weird. But would I want to live in there? No, I don't think so. Because that's like you know, that if you see the dark thing, then it's so powerful you lose your mind. That's like the premise of it. Like just witnessing it, your mind melts to mush.
Anything like Clive Barker, that's a weird motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
Hellraiser. I'd be like, who the fuck? What's going on?
It would be.
Hey,
it would be
what's
so
going
fun.
on
What
around
do they
here?
call it, the Deadites or something? Wouldn't it be cool to be one of them though? Because they look like they're having a good time. They don't give a fuck. They're like, oh yeah, tear his skin off with fish hooks and fillet it out, make a little meat puppet out of him. Yeah, it's good, right? Leather and stuff.
Shit's got to be sweaty.
I'm sweating.
You are sweating.
If you could be the best in the world at something, what would it be? And I'm going to add to this, not music. Something else. Not music, because everybody's like, oh, I want to be the best drummer. Well, there.
It can't be anything musical. Well, it'd be anything in the realm of video. I mean, I'm by far not the best in the world at any of these video aspects. Or it'd be martial arts.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I love martial arts. That was my first love. Yeah, it was watching Bruce Lee, then and Arnold, just because it was combat, you know, Conan and all that shit, and then it was Jean-Claude Van Damme for quite a while, and then Jackie Chan hit the scene, and I fell in love, and ever since then,
Legend.
yeah, and it's just everything, all that stuff, and then UFC is now, you know, dominating sport, and I love it. It's the only sport that I follow. I still love martial arts, so yeah. Best in the world at martial arts or anything editing or filming.
Did not see that coming.
I don't know. Like I'd have to go with something more outside of what I do, like writing, like novelist type of stuff, and more specifically things that I would want to be the greatest in the world at opening people's eyes for things that nobody wants to look at, like people like David Attenborough. I mean, have you watched any recent David Attenborough documentary, like the one where the fucking walruses are throwing themselves off the cliff, and I'm bawling like I
haven't seen
like
that.
My
like a wet
died,
seal,
just bawling like a wet clubbed to death seal by a Viking somewhere. You know, watching these animals, and it's because of us encroaching on habitat and everything. And I say this, I work for a developer, but like, you know, but between the polar bears and, you know, animal rights stuff, like our champions, he's the last one of our champions for animals.
So the
I
best,
sound like a hippie when I say
the best animal rights activist.
But you know, like before Steve Irwin died, he was like the hero, man. He was my hero. I watched the Crocodile Hunter, and I wanted to be a herpetologist for a while.
Have you followed the Python King at all?
The Python King? No.
Yeah, he's a Florida man legend going on right now.
Right
close
now?
to you, dude. He's,
really?
Yeah,
he's not like the Tiger King, because that guy ended up being a real weirdo.
This guy legitimately goes. He does catch the pythons and deals with them because they're destroying the ecosystem. But he's all about trying to bring balance to the ecosystem.
Yeah. And there is a problem down there because they're crossbreeding. The pythons are crossbreeding. The Burmese and the African rocks.
It's a problem. Shit about Escobar's hippos. Apparently,
he does have hippos, and they're in South America.
Apparently, Pablo Escobar had a zoo.
Yeah.
And it was opened, and all the hippos are out, and now people started killing them off, and now they're breeding.
Whoa.
And now they're everywhere because you can't be killing these hippos.
Yeah, you know, the hippopotamus is like the most dangerous animal on the planet.
Yeah.
They are most likely to no reason just fucking annihilate.
Yeah. Holy crap. Yeah, hippo fuck you up, dude.
Yeah,
hippo's scary.
Worse than a moose.
Yeah, I would be way more scared of a hippo than a moose.
Yeah.
I mean, a hippo is like, just the jaw span is
That's why I stay off of Tennessee Street.
Bring us back.
Next question.
So we got onto the hippopotamus topic from there. Thank you, Samantha.
Somehow we ended up there. Thank you, Samantha. All right. I think that's about it.
Awesome.
Yeah. How you guys feeling? You guys want to discuss anything else? Want to talk about your guitar tone? What kind of strings do you use?
I use Ernie Ball.
Start a 20-hour conversation.
Ernie Ball
over here.
beefies. Ernie Ball, not even beefies or something. The beefies. Yeah, that's what I use.
I prefer the thicker gauge myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good man.
I'm exploring 9s right
Okay.
now. Yeah, on
That's
one
all right.
guitar, and then 10s on the other. I think I'm 10s or 9s, and mostly Elixir is where I end up falling. But honestly,
on the
I'm,
electric too. With the electric,
Yeah,
Elixir's
yeah.
on the electric. I've never
yeah,
tried.
in general. But that being said, I'm pretty open. I'm reinventing all that shit right now. I'm actually experimenting with all kinds of different picks and different strings, and yeah, I'm kind of reinventing the wheel.
Did you say you have an
myself.
acoustic?
I do.
So put down your electric for like.
Right.
I did exactly that a
Yes.
month ago. I swear to God, I just got a new acoustic and did that. Yeah.
For Rob.
Yes,
There.
thank
Yes,
you.
finally got my
So-
dick
Dick pics are hot off the press.
I have
press.
never been given a dick pic before. This
This is not my first one, but
Won't be the last.
but yeah, I went 3 fucking years.
Okay.
I went 3 years, no electric guitar, and
Yeah.
played only acoustic.
Wow.
And then I went and picked up my electric, and I was like holy shit.
I know, dude. It's like I feel like it's a bicycle versus a motorcycle.
Yes.
You know, when you can make one note last as long as you want it to.
Yes.
You know, it's so. And I think the electric guitar is what made me want to learn guitar.
Sure.
So there's this aspect of my songwriting that I feel doesn't happen on an acoustic. I come up with neat things, but what I come up with on the electric is why I got into guitar. It's just
Definitely.
like that's my home
Yeah, that's home.
base.
Absolutely.
But I do think that there's a dexterity and ability that you get out of playing the acoustic, and
Yes.
I let that sit dormant for too long. And I do feel like getting back into the electric after a month of acoustic playing has helped me improve on a lot of things.
Definitely.
And so now that's going to be a regular part of my weekly practice is
Yep.
acoustic time.
And not to mention, if something sounds fucking heavy on the acoustic, well,
Absolutely, yeah. Then you'll really get it. And we're tuning. I mean, Dick's who got me into tuning guitars down. I was always E or D.
Yep.
But everything on the Cue The Muses is dropped down to C. So
Okay.
that's where I've pretty much lived on everything.
In this day and age, that's not even low anymore.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
right.
it's not.
It's low enough for me. I think
Yeah,
past
no,
that,
it's
I
low.
can't get the
Yeah.
brightness that I want to pinch through. On
All the kids
that's
these
not
days
even,
got their
that's not
H
even a new
strings.
thing. I mean,
No.
Black Sabbath National Anthem for that is in C.
Well, that's what's been really interesting is that since he got me into it, I'm figuring out, all these bands were dropped down this low. I thought they were just playing drop D.
Yeah.
I really assumed that. And then I'm realizing, I've never been able to sound this much.
Now,
like
a lot of the grunge stuff is like E standard,
yes.
and then the drop, whatever the drop equivalent of that is. But yeah, a lot of the heavier stuff, C.
But it's like there's still pretty things that
Yes.
come from this. Like in the other scale, it still translates. And sometimes like there's a riff I really like playing in drop D, and I wrote it in drop D, and it's in the key of what the A string is, so it's D, C, G, C, drop C, sorry, C, G, C, so it's in the key of G in the beginning of it, and it's a cool riff. But I played it one time with some friends. It was Timbo's cover band, Big Love, and I went over there and hung out at their rehearsal space, and I played. Yeah, Big Love, it's awesome. And I was like, can I play their vocalist Greg? Let me play. He's got a Gibson Slash edition,
Oh,
like a series real deal Les Paul.
Yes.
And it was in standard, and I started playing that particular riff, and like the bass player was like, Creed. I was like, fuck, it sounds like Creed in this key. I was like, wait. He had like a detune pedal, like one of those magical pedals that like you hit the button.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I hit that button 3 times. See? And I was like, okay, now it sounds. I said, does it sound like it now? He's like, no, it sounds weird now. I'm like, okay.
I cannot tell you how many times I'll be playing something thinking that I'm writing it, and then it's actually somebody else's. Somebody else's riff.
I love that though. I love that. You know, when it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing.
Yeah, no.
Because you can take the same riff, make 2 completely different songs.
Absolutely.
There's I won't do the demonstration. One of my favorite party tricks is I start playing. There's a Nickelback song. It goes. I'm not
Love
that
but
song.
it's a great song.
Yes.
It's a great progression. But if you play that progression,
I was kidding because I
all
don't
of
know
a
what
sudden
song.
you can go from then you can go wake me up, and I can't wake up, wake me up, and say and that's the same fucking song on the guitar. It's just everything else around it is different.
Definitely.
And it might
12
be
notes, guys. 12 notes.
That's it.
That's all we got.
That's all we got.
You're gonna repeat some stuff.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
If
gonna
it's on a
happen.
piano, you got 88 though.
Yeah.
They're all different.
They're
Damn
all
it.
different.
All different.
It is amazing how versatile it can still be with 12 notes.
Even with 12 fucking notes.
It's crazy.
But it's the different scales and
There's so much to it. I
Yeah.
mean, it is ultimately infinite. It takes the smallest nuance to make it a different thing to it.
As long as you're in 4/4-120, it's a hit.
Which I don't ever write. Everything's in 3 or 6 or 13.
I like 4/4.
I've been practicing in 4/4, and I realize how foreign it is to me because I was like, God, I really don't write shit in 4. This is crazy. 3 and 6 is so natural to me.
That's the tool coming out on
That
you.
is totally it, man. 3 and 6 is where my home base is for sure. But I'm getting better at 4.
Well, that's why
Keep working on it.
all that shit that sells big is in 4/4-120. That's
Yeah,
the pace you walk
that's
at.
it,
That's your
yeah.
heartbeat. That's everything. It's easy for people to pick up on.
Yeah.
4/4-120.
Yeah, and not everybody is a music nerd. Some people are just
Yeah.
like your average listener, and like that's the majority of people. The majority of people are just an average listener, and like I like
Regular
seeing
jack-offs.
people get off time, like because I like off time rhythms.
Sure.
And I like watching people bob their head and then go, what?
What
And then
happened?
it comes back in. Like when Meshuggah opened up for Tool in Tallahassee years back, I remember the entire crowd, sold out show, was just like,
I don't want to make of this.
I think I love this, but I don't understand it yet. And I was one of those guys. I was like,
But even Meshuggah, like you take that riff bleed. I mean, yeah, it's fucking phenomenally heavy.
Yeah.
It's in 4/4.
it's in 2 separate ones. It's. I just watched a documentary on
Okay.
Thomas Hawk, the drummer for
Yes.
Meshuggah. That drum pattern is beautiful because he's doing 4/4 with his hands.
Right.
So the snare
Right.
is always on 4.
Yes.
But his feet are doing a completely different, weird, fucking like 17-20 pattern. I don't know
And
what
that's
it
what makes it
is.
cool.
It's like he's programmed differently from other people.
Right.
It's like, I heard that song "Bleed." He had to like rehearse it for 6 months. They spent more time working on. He spent more time working on just that drum pattern for "Bleed" than he did for all of the drum patterns for the rest of that album combined.
God damn.
Like just teaching his body how to do it because they were pioneers for the digital writing method. Like the guitar players used pods.
Yep.
And they performed touring with pods. They were in my memory, I might be wrong, but they were the first ones to tour without amps. They did that stadium tour like, we're just going to use the pod. We don't need an amp. Plug it into the house and it's good to go. Now everybody does it.
No,
Nobody
fucking
uses amps.
well,
Yeah.
not everybody.
And their drummer wrote with a program. He wrote patterns with a program and then went and taught his body how to do it.
Oh.
It's insane. Thomas Hawk is like when you look back on the last 50, 60 years of drummers and like important drummers, you can't forget Thomas Hawk because
Absolutely.
that band and that dude changed the game.
Yes.
Like forever.
Yeah, he works in fucking binary. It's all zeros and ones.
Yeah. He sees music as the Matrix.
Dylan Rogers says, "What's up, guys?"
Karaoke Friday night.
What's up, man?
What up, Dylan?
And Russ says, we're limited to 12 notes, but we have infinite space.
Oh, that's a fucking song lyric.
Put a pause in there, and you just changed the game, baby. Rest.
And on that note,
Guys, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely,
Yes.
man. Thank you for having
Fucking
me.
right. Goddamn right.
super duper appreciate your time.
Sorry I
You
talked
guys
so
are
much.
so
No,
fucking
good times.
busy. I'm surprised I got you both in the same room at the same time.
Right on.
It is a feat.
Yeah, I
it's a
thought
feat
you were-
these days.
I thought
It
we were
was-
going to be remote.
Oh, really? No shit.
Well,
yeah.
he said that you might
Yeah.
be
It
able
was
to
going to
make
be
it.
tricky, yeah. It
Yeah.
was because I was gunning for a project. Turned it in literally an hour before I came here.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Yeah, you
good.
texted last night like, I got a 3 a.m. morning, but I'm going to try my ass off. to make
Yeah,
And I
it was
like,
work until 3
We're
a.m.
gonna
Then
have
wake
fucking
up.
green
and
M&Ms then. If you're going to put in all that, I'm going to put in my side.
and I'm here. I made it. I got my green M&Ms.
That's right.
Thank you, everybody.
All the Record Music Show.
That was fun, guys.
Yes,
Fucking right.
cuethemuses.com. Check
Thank
it out.
you.
All the links in the description. Click all that shit. Like, share, subscribe, everything. Watch their show multiple
things.
times. And,
Bye. Spill the
Check
spill
it
the
out.
M&Ms.
He spilled his M&Ms. Check out those pants in episode 2.
Hot pants.
I love those pants.
Hot pants.
That's right. It's always Ash, then Dick.
That's right.
Not Dick and Ash.
So it's not,
Yeah.
so it's not Ashy Dick.
It's not
No.
Dick and Ash. It's always Ash, then Dick.
That's right.
And if you watch episode 2, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Peace.